Out of the gate with a couple of wins over Sacred Heart and Monmouth. Last week in a quagmire, you ran into a Marist team that was a little bit bigger and you couldn't utilize your quickness. Was that the determining factor in a game that was very close at halftime?
Well, I wouldn't say it was a determining factor, Kevin. We had opportunities in the first half. I think we had the ball inside their 40-yard line 6 times in the first half. We came away with 13 points. So I think, when all is said and done, the ball game was really lost right then and there. Sure, the weather had something to do with the second half, but we had opportunities early.
All right, tonight, as you look at Bob Benson's Georgetown Hoyas, it appears that the teams do, in fact, though, match up a little better. Both youthful and both relying on a lot of speed.
Right, we're both young, we're both quick. When you talk about youth, you talk about inexperience, so you will see some errors out here tonight, but I think enthusiasm will take over, and it should be a real spirited ball game.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. That's St. John's Red Storm head coach Bob Ricca. Now let's turn things over to Billy Taylor with Bob Benson of the Georgetown Hoyas.
Thank you, Kevin. Coach Benson, your team is 1-2, but your offense has shown flashes of being pretty good.
Our offense has been consistent throughout the 3 games. We haven't been consistent for 4 quarters, but we certainly have been consistent in 2 of the 3 games for 3 quarters, and we need to put 4 together tonight if we're going to have success.
What about your defense? What can you do to stop St. John's?
We need to keep their offense off the field. Number 87, Tom McPherson, he is as good as it gets at this level, and our offense, I hope, can control the football and just keep their big play people off. I think that'll be the biggest asset we can have tonight, is having a successful ground game with the offense. But our defense is capable of making a big play, and so we are looking forward to tonight.
Good luck, Coach Benson.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with the kickoff after this.
Mac Football is brought to you in part by Nobody Beats the Wiz Home Entertainment Centers. For state-of-the-art home electronics, computers, cameras, music, movies, and more, nobody beats the Wiz.
Okay, tell me about this price patrol again.
Just a bunch of dedicated people who make sure that the prices at Nobody Beats the Wiz are the best they can be.
Oh, come on. They really check their competition's prices?
Consistently. It's kind of like having an insurance policy against paying too much.
What if the price patrol misses something?
Unlike you, they won't. If they do, Nobody Beats the Wiz will beat the price and give you 10% of the difference in the price.
I like the concept.
What's not to like? Nobody beats the Wiz. Or me.
Long Island's most powerful hour of game shows. Take the Jeopardy Challenge at 6 and spin the Wheel of Fortune at 6:30. Right, Pat?
That's right, Alex. It's all here on Long Island's great entertainment station, WLIG TV 55.
A winning combination.
Sunjet International, still leading the way west with low airfares. On Sunjet, you can fly from New York via Newark to Los Angeles from just $129 each way, and New York to Dallas on Sunjet from just $99 each way. Call 1-800-4-SUNJET to reserve your seat. The City of Stars from just $129. The Lone Star from just $99. Sunjet, we've got your ticket to the stars, too. Call 1-800-4-SUNJET.
For what you put into your relationship with your bank, are you getting enough out of it? At KeyBank, our Key Preference Plan gives you a premium rate CD, plus preferred pricing on financial services. Get more out of your life. Get more out of your bank. At KeyBank, America's neighborhood bank.
Football. Hi again, this is Ed Ingalls along with Billy Taylor and Kevin Christopher as we get set for the Georgetown Hoyas and the St. John's Red Storm in this MAC battle. Georgetown comes in here with a record of 1-2 overall. All 3 games have been played this year inside the MAC. For St. John's, their record is 0-1 in conference play, and they are 2-1 overall as the ball blows off the tee. An ideal night for football with a little wind kicking around here. Georgetown dressed out in the white and blue, a young team, coached by a very young coach. Bob Benson, only 29 years old in his second year with the Georgetown Hoyas. Billy, they like to run some reverses on the kickoffs to the Hoyas. They like to fake it or run it and try to make a big play off the kickoff. Let's see if they do it here.
Well, Coach Benson started before the game that he wants to keep everything wide so they can come back and try to run it through the middle a little bit later, so we're going to take note of that.
Line drive kick will get by and go into the end zone, out of the end zone. So good kick for St. John's gives Georgetown 1st and 10 at their own 20. The Hoyas offensively go with Billy Ring at quarterback, a sophomore. Their top running back will be their tailback, a very elusive one, in Steve Iorio, number 20. St. John's will go with a 4-3 defense. Hoyas, as we say, are a very young football team. They like to run out of the I formation, and that's what they go with as they split the running backs now. Ring on first down, throws a pass that's short. So Ring trying to get the connection with Rob Rosenthal, his split end, a freshman out of Staten Island, and so it's 2nd and 10 for Georgetown.
You know, Ed, Bill Ring is a very fine quarterback. He's the kind of quarterback who makes good decisions. If he's in a bind, he won't throw it in the crowd, he'll throw it away. And I think that's a good disciplinary action for Bill Benson, Coach Bob Benson. Yeah, Ring only has 4 interceptions, Bill, and he's only been sacked 3 times. 1 setback. Ring with a nice fake completes that ball just shy of the first down at the 26-yard line. A gain of 6 on the play, so it makes it 3rd down and 4 for Georgetown as they try to move the chains just underway here at St. John's University Field. You know that sometimes when you see a running team coming out trying to throw the ball, it really shows you that they're trying to establish the running game because they want the defensive linebackers to back off a little bit so they get a little bit more room up front to run the ball. I think you're going to see him come back with Steve Iorio. Iorio, of course, leads the MAC conference in total yards per carry and also yards per run. On a 3rd and 4 situation now for Georgetown, early first quarter, in the slot on the left side. For the 3rd straight time, Young is passing. This time he completes it to Rosenthal, who gets the first down, takes it out to the St. John's 44-yard line, where he's stopped by Ken Detzler, the sophomore from Islip. But Georgetown has a 1st and 10 situation here early on in the first quarter as they move out to their own 44-yard line. I think it gives them a lot of confidence, Ed, when you come out and get a first down your first series, because then it gets everyone kind of settled down a little bit. And I think this guy, Bill Ring, I like him so far as a quarterback. He's making good decisions so far. Well, certainly they've come out with an unusual look throwing the first 3 downs because this has been primarily a running team this year, Billy. And now we see they go out of the I formation with again from the slot on the left side. This is basically what they like to run out of. Here's a little tailback trying to cut off tackle. Ioria doesn't find much running room there, though, Bill, as the St. John's defense moving quickly to the ball with good pursuit, leading the attack. Walter DeFrost, the linebacker, the middle linebacker who played so well for St. John's in the loss to Marist last Saturday. He's a good one, Ed. As a matter of fact, he had great pursuit, and I thought the defensive line with Chris Carew and Steve Dombrowski did an excellent job of keeping people away from the middle linebacker so that Walter DeFrost could make the tackle. That's an excellent job. So there's only a 1-yard pickup on the play, Billy. 2nd down and 9 as Georgetown sends in a number of substitutes. Of course, they have 2 fine tailbacks. Joe Tedisco, number 34, will also play, and he is very much like Iorio. 1 setback and the slot formation on the left. Ring gets a blitz. The ball is deflected, intercepted by St. John's at midfield. Red Storm with the ball, and it's bobbled and out of bounds with the interception. Anthony Ferreira, number 55, the defensive end, picks it off just inside Georgetown territory. Good pressure that time, too, on Ring, as he could not see the passing lane, and the pressure set up the interception. St. John's gets the ball deep in Georgetown territory. As you look at the replay, the ball was tipped by the blitzing linebacker, and the receiver was wide open, but that shows you when the defensive line can get their hands up that they're able to make something happen. Nice job by Anthony Ferrara picking the ball up, but he showed you he doesn't have good hands because he fumbled it out of bounds. So St. John's goes 1st and 10 from the Georgetown 26. Red Storm said they will run the flanks tonight, try to sweep. Looks like they're setting up a screen. They are on the left side to the fullback, Anitra. And he goes down inside the 25, down to around the 20-yard line as the Red Storm goes with a little screen pass on the left side. Mark Levine on the year has had 5 touchdown passes and rushed for 1. Very active freshman. Jermaine Creighton, the tailback, did not do much in the last game. Anitra, the fullback, is a good pass receiver, but the coach, Bob Bricker, says that Anitra has to block better in this game to set things up for Creighton. So now it's a 2nd down and 7 situation for the Red Storm as they too go with a slot on the right side, but they split the running backs. Pass deflected and incomplete. Good pressure that time and hands up. That's where it pays off, coming in with your hands up. Pass was intended for Dan Parker, was knocked away by Enrico Mariani.
I thought it was an excellent job because sometimes when the offensive line gets a stalemate at the line of scrimmage, if the defensive lineman can get his hands up, he can get in the way of the passing lanes of the quarterback. And that time they got in Mark Levine's way, and they're able to thwart a good attempt. The receiver was open, though, Ed.
He was, and it's scoreless here at St. John's University Field. St. John's and Georgetown scoreless with about 12.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. A third and long situation for the Red Storm. McPherson is their primary receiver, number 87. Let's see if they go to him. Pass incomplete as they try to go over the middle. Intended for Aaron Hardwood, the speedster, the former track star, Big East track star who converted to football last year. But it goes as incomplete for the Red Storm.
You can't fault Levine on the play. He put the ball exactly where you're supposed to be. As soon as the receiver clears the linebacker, then the ball is supposed to be right there, and I got to credit Mark Levine for putting the ball on the money. He can't catch it for him also, though, Ed.
You see that Wanaka, the linebacker, number 57, is the best defensive player so far for Georgetown this year. And now Ledwith will come up with a field goal try for the Red Storm. It'll be spotted at the 29. It is a 39-yard kick. It'll be slightly left to right. And it is no good as Ledwith misses the field goal attempt. And St. John's draws a blank. Ledwith came into the game with 6 career field goals. He was 1 of 2 this year, having hit a 42-yarder earlier this year. Leg was strong enough, but the direction not quite good enough. So it goes to now 1st and 10 for Georgetown at the 20 on a beautiful night for football here in Jamaica, Queens. Ideal, unlike last week, we were up at Poughkeepsie for the Marist St. John's game. We wound up at the Mud Bowl.
They missed a good opportunity to get some points on the board because the defense had turned the ball over to the offense. They were in good field position, and for them not to come away with the points, that could be a momentum factor. We'll have to keep up with it a little bit later.
So Georgetown with their second opportunity tonight with a 1st and 10 situation back at the 21-yard line. They're going to pitch the ball back to Iorio, and he finds some running room. Boy, he can spin and twist, comes up just short of a first down. Steve Iorio, who's out of Mendham, New Jersey, a 5'8", 175-pound freshman, is stopped by Randolph Howard and Ken Ditzler, but not before he picks up some good yardage on that one, Billy.
That's an excellent job on first down. He gets a first down on the first carry. But what Coach Bob Benson stated at the beginning of the game, they want to try to get wide on St. John's team. If they can get wide, they can bring things back toward the middle. That's an excellent job. Now it's up to St. John's to stop those wide pitch outs.
And now remember, Georgetown likes the counter trap play off tackle too. That's been a meal ticket this year. But again, they go wide to their little tailback. Doesn't get a first down on this one, but again, he picks up some yardage as Steve Iorio picks up 5 or 6 yards before Chris Carew, who was the second leading tackler for St. John's last year and is off to a good start this year, leading the team in tackles, going in with 26, comes up to make the stop.
Well, Ed, Iorio had 163 yards rushing last week. He's averaged 6.4 yards a carry. They haven't stopped that wide play yet, and they have to run it till the cows come home till you make St. John stop it.
Well, they've run it 2 times in a row after coming out in the first series and throwing 4 of the first 5 plays were passes. They're going to try to go inside this time with the tailback Iorio, but not much running room there. Remember now, they'd like to run off the left side behind Murray Happer, the 6'4", 270-pound senior, who's already been scouted by 6 pro teams. Walter DeFrost came up to make the stop for St. John's.
What's excellent about the left tackle, number 79, Happer, is that it's very rarely you see a tackle pull on plays, and it shows you the quickness that he has. And I think quick feet are essential for a tackle, so we have to keep an eye on Happer throughout the day.
First team All-MAC last year. Now it is a 3rd down and 3 situation for Georgetown in the scoreless game. We're still rather early in the first quarter. Ring is the quarterback.
Steve, look at me, listen to me.
He's got the first down on a completion to Rosenthal as he goes to the wide receiver, Rob Rosenthal, who is considered the best receiver on Georgetown. Mark Bernardini, number 28 for St. John's, to make the stop, but not before they get a first down.
As you look at the replay, it's just a 3-step drop by Bill Ring, puts the ball on the money, and really gives the receiver time to throw, and I think that time to run after the catch. And I think that's what a good quarterback Bill Ring should do.
So Georgetown moves the chains again out to the 49-yard line, 1st down and 10. That's their second first down on this drive, and they're going to try Iorio again on that sweep, Billy, and they get about 4 yards on it. He's very quick to the corner with Steve Dombrowski, the 6'1", 223-pound junior tackle. made the stop for St. John's.
Well, sometimes they have in the backfield the fullback number 87 used to be a tight end, Greg Rachinsky. He's the lead blocker in a lot of the plays, and what Ioria does is cut off of him. He gets to the corner really quick, turns up, and gets up positive yards. Anytime you get at least 4 yards, Ed, on first down, it puts your offense in a good position.
Yeah, because now you can get him off guard, either going, throwing, or running on a 2nd and 6. Rachinsky, by the way, volunteered to play fullback, was a freshman tight end. They ran out of fullbacks. He said, "Coach, I'll take the job." Ioria bumps into his own man, but makes a big cutback play there, Billy. Shows his cutback ability. Anthony Ferrero, the defensive end, had to pull him down, but not before he got a first down inside the Red Storm's 40-yard line. And the Hoyas of Georgetown are moving here in the first quarter.
What I've noticed St. John has done against that sweep, Ed, and you look at the replay, they try to bring number 17, Steven Damiskas. He comes up, takes the blocker head on, pushes him back almost into Ioria, but Ioria keeps his feet and picks up a positive yardage and a first down. Excellent job by keeping his head up and keeping his feet moving. Good job. That's why he's averaging 6.4 yards a carry.
Yes, he's got 6 carries for 34 yards so far, as Ioria does a good job of squaring his shoulders to the line of scrimmage when he runs with the ball, Billy, especially when he gets in the secondary. Ring is the quarterback. Going to go deep. He's got a man open, but it's bobbled and dropped in the hands of Chris Coleman, the 5'10 sophomore. Had his hands on it, but dropped it.
You know, they talked about Bill Ring having the accuracy of a lot of good quarterbacks. Tonight he showed you why. He looked at the defense, he split the seam in the zone and put the ball exactly where it should be. Chris Coleman should cry after that one.
He probably will later, especially if his team loses this ball game by about 6 points.
Well, Bill Ring will bring him back.
He's looking good. He's looking better probably tonight than he's looked in the first 3 games this year. So on 2nd and 10, Ring is going to throw again. He's got a completion out of bounds inside the 30 as he catches Jim Caesar, the junior from Clarks Green, Pennsylvania. And Billy, that's close to a first down.
As you look at the replay, they roll out to the left. They bring the offensive guard out with him. The running back kind of screens out. We call that a waddle, and then he throws the ball on the money to the sideline, and Jim Caesar brings it in for the first down. Excellent job by Bill Ring. Good route by Jim Caesar, number 1.
Interesting play, Billy, because the penalty, though, comes back because of a penalty against Georgetown.
Well, usually that's holding in that situation, especially when you're trying to roll out the opposite side. Usually a right-handed quarterback rolls to the right. He rolled to the left on that. Had to really show you his arm strength on that one. I'm really impressed so far, Ed, with Bill Ring, because he's showing me the savvy of a young veteran quarterback, even though he's a young quarterback himself.
A costly play for Georgetown. They lose about 22 yards on that play. They're back to a 2nd and 20 now, and they go from the I formation. Ring showing good ability rolling out to his left, which is, as you know, tough to do for a right-handed passer. But they're trying to exploit St. John's secondary. Now, this time they're going to go inside, but that time St. John's is there to diagnose the play very well. Good defensive read by St. John's as they stop Ioria before he could get in the secondary. Randolph Howard, the freshman out of Bayshore, made the stop along with Chris Carew.
Well, as you look at the replay, the linebackers are certainly reading. They're 5 yards off the ball. Randolph Howard comes up, makes the play. An outstanding read and reaction by the St. John Red Storm and Randolph Howard.
So it's 3rd down and 18 now for Georgetown as they try to keep this drive going, but they'll have to come up with a big play here as they've been going with a slot formation, 3 wide receivers and 2 setbacks. Big with nice play action there, Billy. Here's the bomb. He's got a man again going deep for it, and boom, they collide. Let's see if there's any incidental contact. Incidental, but nothing's called deliberate, so Jim Caesar had a chance to make the catch, but he collided with Ken Forte and Ken Ditzler as that time the St. John's secondary was able to recover when the receiver got deep and open.
But so even though that play wasn't successful, Ed, what it does is stretch the entire defense of St. John's. It's going to allow the Georgetown Hoyas to come back underneath.
Piscatella with a wobbly kick that St. John's will let roll inside the 20 as Joe Piscatella, who was the All-MAC punter last year but has struggled this year with a 31.7-yard average, kicked 29 yards in that one. So here in the first quarter with 8:21 to go, it's St. John's nothing, Georgetown nothing. You're watching MAC football.
Still the greatest city in the world. What better place for a great university? A university with one of the leading colleges of pharmacy in the country. A top law school and nationally accredited schools of business whose programs are designed to meet the challenge of the new global economy, plus affordable tuition. Yes, the city is New York and the university is St. John's.
When the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference basketball season revs into high gear this winter, all eyes will be on the prize in Albany as the Marine Midland MAC Championship Tournament returns to Knickerbocker Arena March 3rd through the 6th. Make your plans and purchase your tickets now for 4 exciting days of March Madness as the MAC men and women fight for the conference crown and a trip to the NCAA tournament. For tournament information, call 518-487-2000. The Marine Midland MAC Basketball Tournament returns to Albany, New York, March 3rd through the 6th.
Along with Billy Taylor, Kevin Christopher, this is Ed Ingles at St. John's University Field. We're scoreless halfway through the first quarter as the Red Storm takes over first and 20 on a beautiful night for almost anything, but especially football. And now it's incumbent upon St. John's to try to get their running game going. It sputtered against Marist.
Now's a good time to get Creighton going anyway, because now that everybody's settled down a little bit, they can get the front 5 of the offensive line to work in cohesion and get Creighton off.
Jermaine Creighton averaging slightly less than 3 yards a carry, and he's going to try to pick up some yardage on this sweep. As St. John's Bob Bricker said, that's what the Red Storm would try to do tonight, get outside the flanks. But that time they didn't get much yardage because Georgetown has good pursuit on the defensive line.
Yes, they do, but the only way to stop that is to run right at them. I realize they're trying to get outside and create something for Creighton, but I think to establish that, they have to go right at them and pick up the tough yards inside, average at least 4 yards a carry. Then I think it opens up the outside, Ed.
Dan Cuniff, the outside cornerback on the left side, made the stop after a 3-yard pickup. So now it's 2nd down and 7 for the Red Storm as they show this time they split the running backs, but again with 3 wide receivers. Number 11, Mark Levine, is the freshman quarterback for St. John's, and he wants to throw, but under pressure. Nice maneuvering, but again, good pursuit by Georgetown, both in getting to the quarterback and then getting to the intended receiver. Pass was thrown for John Anitra, who did very well against Marist catching the football, but Chris Johnston made the deflection. Let's go downstairs now to Kevin Christopher.
Yeah, Ed, you mentioned John Anitra and how they were very successful throwing to him underneath in that Marist game, but I talked to Mark Levine just before this offensive possession, and he said he really wants to throw the football. They want to try to isolate Tom McPherson one-on-one and go deep while they've got the wind at their back. And another thing they want to do, Bob Ricka says, look, let's smash left and smash right first. Back to you guys.
All right, Kevin, 3rd and 7 for the Red Storm here, back deep in their own territory. And this time they only have 2 wide receivers. There's a little quick hitch pattern over the middle as they try to go to post, but it's deflected away as the pass was intended for Aaron Hardwood. Again, Georgetown showing good defensive reaction, I thought, Billy.
I saw the cornerback, Sam Wells, as you look him on the cornerback, he read the quarterback's eyes and arrived at the same time as the ball carrier. That's exactly the job of a cornerback, to be able to at least look inside to the quarterback and keep an eye on the receiver. Outstanding job by Georgetown Hoyas.
So Steve D'Amicis will punt it away for St. John's in the shadow of his own goal line. The return man for Georgetown back at the 40-yard line is Chris Sapenza. That's a nice punt. Sapenza has room, though, back at the 38. But he is snowed under by red shirts. A flag is tossed here on the near sideline. Nice kick, though, of 39 yards for D'Amicis. Let's see what the call is, though, as a flag is tossed just after the tackle.
That was good coverage by the St. John Red Storm. They have to do well on special teams if they're going to keep the game even right now, because both teams are about the same size, and I think that was going to come down to maybe a special play here or there, Ed.
All right, the penalty is against Georgetown, Billy. Wait a minute, we're waiting to see it gets marked off. Here it comes now. Yeah, they're going to mark it off from the spot of the infraction and puts it back at the 41-yard line.
Ed, now we have to take a look at what kind of adjustments that St. John is going to make against that sweep. Before they tried to bring Stephen D'Amicis up to the line to take on the fullback a little quicker, to make the running back make his decision a little quicker. So we'll see what kind of adjustment they make off of that.
Wouldn't it be a good time to run that counter trap play, since they've been going with the sweeps, and St. John's obviously looking for the sweeps? Maybe they come back inside, but now they're going to go sweep. This time it's Tedesco, the other tailback, who gets around the corner in St. John's territory, gets the first down, and this is Joe Tedesco, number 34, 5'8", 180, a freshman out of Homdale, New Jersey, brought down by Mark Bernardini, but not before he picks up 11 yards in the play and gives Georgetown a first down, St. John's territory.
As you look at the replay, they have the guard pulling a little bit. He comes out with the lead block of the fullback, who does an excellent job of at least stalemating, allows Tamiskas to get to the corner and pick up a first down. That was nice because that was the first time they ran to the left on that sweep, and now they have to keep St. John's honest.
Tedesco is the 4th leading rusher in the MAC conference. There's that trap off the left side. Big running room as he's inside the 35 and gets another first down. A big hole. It was Ken Ditzel, the free safety, who finally pulled him down, but Georgetown deep in St. John's territory as Rob Rosenthal made an outstanding block then, Billy. But we do have a flag down.
It's really a shame because Georgetown really has outplayed St. John's at the point of attack. As you look at the point of attack, look at the block of number 79, Murray Happer. He really just does an excellent job of getting Tamiskas through the hole and picks up good yards. Now they have a running back that can go right and left. It gives them a kind of a different change-up, and I think St. John's really is at a disadvantage. They're lucky they got a penalty on the play against Georgetown.
Georgetown hurting themselves with penalties here, Billy. They've marked off 10 yards. It looks like a holding penalty on Georgetown. Moves it back to the St. John's 49-yard line, as Rosenthal was the man who held. He made a nice block, but he also held to the play. You know, the thing about Georgetown, too, Billy, their wide receivers are good blockers. They do a good job of blocking. They just don't go out for passes or, you know, pussyfoot out there. They make a block when they have to. Let's see what they do now, Georgetown, with a first down situation. Ringer likes to roll out. Boy, he rifles that one, Bill, but a little bit too hard, a little bit too high as he tried to deliver the fastball to Rob Rosenthal. Goes incomplete, of course.
It seems like Bill Ring throws better going to his left, which is the opposite way of a right-handed quarterback. He was just a little bit off on that, but they've got to come back to it because he had plenty of time to throw. The offensive line led by Steve Galileo did an excellent job of protecting him.
Yeah, right now, Georgetown winning the battle of the line of scrimmage. Ring is 3 of 8 for 33 yards passing and showing a strong arm. Does a lanky 6'3", 180-pound sophomore out of Pennsylvania. Here's that pitch to Tedesco. Again with a nice move. He's going to get the first down inside St. John's 35-yard line. He can really skate, Billy, as Randolph Howard had to chase him down. And Rosenthal again with a good block for Georgetown. And this time apparently he didn't hold when he made the block.
As you look at the replay, watch Tedesco set up the block. He dips in, sets it up, gets back to the outside, shows his speed, hits the sideline, and picks up good yardage. That's what a running back has got to do. Help the blockers out by setting up the block, and did an excellent job of setting it up at the point of attack, then use his athleticism to get outside. Excellent job.
14-yard pickup, Bill, gives Georgetown a 1st and 10 situation at St. John's 33. We're scoreless with 6:23 to go in the first quarter. This is Ring. He'll get pressure. Bombs away. He's got a man open. Incomplete. Nice high throw again for the 3rd time in this quarter. Georgetown has had a wide receiver open. Bear in mind now, Georgetown's longest completion in the game last week against Canisius was a 13-yard pass. That one, by the way, was attempted for Chris Coleman, who couldn't quite get a handle on it, Bill.
I like Bill Ring's arm. I like his decision-making. I think that he's throwing the ball at the right time. Had a receiver that was open, just couldn't get to it. But the offensive line is doing an excellent job of giving him time to throw. And you really got to be impressed with Bill Ring because I did not know that he had that type of arm, Ed.
I didn't think it was that strong either, but he's doing it on rollouts very effectively tonight. Second down is here. Here's Tedesco. That time he runs smack into a red shirt with a hard hit by Randolph Howard, the freshman out of Bayshore, along with Walter DeForest, the senior out of Bonita Springs, Florida.
What St. John is doing on defense, they're reading the running backs, and the offside linebacker, which at that time is Randolph Howard, was able to meet. As you look at the replay, he came from the other side, met Tedesco in the hole, put his head right on him, and that's what a running back hates, is to take those kind of licks. I know, Ed.
You've taken a few, Billy. You know what, you recovered pretty well, Bill, I got to say.
Well, thank you very much.
Show no evidence of any damage.
Thank you very much.
3rd down and 10 now for Georgetown, again faced with a long yardage situation. Here's that little swing pass as he hits the back, Joe Tedesco, but that time they're not going to get the first down. Play a little slow to develop. St. John's able to diagnose it, and Anthony Ferrer was over there to make the stop for the Red Storm, along with the nickelback, John Yandratis. Garden City.
That's a tough play, Ed. As you look at the replay, it's called a naked screen, where the running back comes out by himself, and he has no blockers in front of him, and they try to get him one-on-one with the linebacker, but the pursuit was just a little bit too much for him, and I think that St. John's did a good job of really attacking the ball, and that's a tough screen to kind of run with no blocking out in front of you.
Sure is. So for the 2nd time, Georgetown turned away inside St. John's territory. Nobody back there to receive the kick as it goes in the end zone, and again the Red Storm will go 1st and 10 from their own 20. But again, St. John's in a situation, Bill, where they'll have poor field position. That punt by Joe Piscatella was 33 yards.
Well, Georgetown has got to be a little upset at themselves because they have moved the ball very good. It's just they haven't been able to convert on those third down situations when they were in plus territory.
So we're scoreless here with 4:50 to go in the first quarter. Georgetown and St. John's playing at St. John's University Field. Red Storm go for the eye with 3 wide receivers. Mark Levine, number 11, is the quarterback, and there's a whistle. All right, you're watching MAC football.
Here come those hippies again.
Test 1, 2, 1. Check.
Is that you, Sunflower?
Police hasn't changed in 25 years.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, they should have put in some condos by now.
Joe, remember when we did this 25 years ago?
Country Joe McDonald.
No.
Wouldn't it be nice if your youth was as easy to hold on to as an ice cold Pepsi?
You think they'll go skinny dipping again? I hope not.
At Premier Car Rental, we specialize in replacing your stolen or damaged car. We offer free delivery of your rental car wherever you need it, home, office, or repair shop, and we'll pick it up too. Our courteous customer service professionals will provide you with friendly, hassle-free service and have you on the road in minutes. Premier Car Rental offers 95 and 94 models, compact to full-size, and minivans too, with rates starting as low as $24.99 a day. Ask about our weekly and weekend special rates. To reserve your car today, call 1-800-340-RENT. And remember, Premier Service is no accident.
Siena College, founded in 1937, is a coeducational, independent liberal arts college with a Franciscan tradition. Situated in the attractive residential community of Londonville, New York, Siena has an ideal location just minutes from New York State's capital region of Albany. The internal growth and development of Siena has been continuous. Siena's curriculum allows flexibility and individual choice for all undergraduates. Siena participates in 17 NCAA Division I sports and is a member of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
Taylor and Kevin Christopher, this is Ed Ingalls in Jamaica, Queens, where St. John's and Georgetown are scoreless with 4:50 to go in the first quarter. The Red Storm in their red jerseys go 1st and 10 from the 20 as Georgetown keeps changing the defense at the line of scrimmage. They're looking past, but here comes a rush. Nice play, Levine, who has the quick feet. The freshman from Freeport, Long Island, gets across the 20 where he's knocked down by the cornerback, Dan Cunnip, the sophomore out of Wakaboo.
Well, you know, St. John's, Ed, has really got to get it going offensively. I think they only have about 5 or 6 yards in total offense for the entire game. They look, Georgetown, as you look at the replay, looks as if they're going to blitz. They back out, and I think they kind of confuse everybody by them backing out. But Levine makes things a lot better by using his athleticism to pick up a positive 3 yards, taking 3 yards, which should have been nothing.
Dan Parker is the St. John's player shaken up on the play. Looks like a knee, Billy. He's a tight end, 5'11", 188. Not very big for a tight end, but has the good hands and, of course, made the touchdown catch last Saturday against Marist.
He's a good blocker, too. Coach Bob Ricka said before the game he's one of the better blockers on their team, and I think that could hurt them if they use Parker for any, if they lose him for any length of time.
The knee was bent backwards, Billy. Not a good sign. This looks like it could be a fairly serious injury for Dan Parker, the tight end for St. John's. His backup is David Anderson out of Oxford, New York. Anderson, though, is a freshman, 6'0", 196. Has seen very little playing time.
Well, the bad thing, and I didn't see the replay, but the bad thing is sometimes your feet do not give when you're playing on AstroTurf, and I think that could have been a turf injury. I know it's very practical for teams to have and use AstroTurf, but I think that sometimes the disadvantage is when you have a situation when your feet are trying to give.
This football game is brought to you by Pepsi, the now generation drink. MAC football game of the week here at St. John's University, where they come off the field with an injury timeout, Billy, as the St. John's Red Storm looking to get something going offensively. They have been unable to move the football on this Georgetown, but one reason they've had very bad field position. Georgetown has been able to move the ball early on, but bogged down once they got into Red Storm territory. MAC football is brought to you in part by the people of First Fidelity Bank. In the communities where we work and live, we've learned that banking is all about one thing: commitment. First Fidelity is a proud sponsor of the MAC Football League. So, Bill, here we go with Bob Ricka, the St. John's coach, undoubtedly talking things over with his offensive unit, trying to get something going. Ricka felt coming in here he would be able to throw short passes against the Georgetown defense. Georgetown plays a 5-2 front.
They use kind of an umbrella defense where they give you some short stuff, but so far we haven't seen that, have we?
No, we haven't, and they've been mixing up what they're doing. At times they try to fake like they're going to blitz and drop everybody back. I think what they're doing to St. John's, the Red Storm offense, and Mark Levine, they're trying to confuse them by showing something at what they call a pre-snap read, and then when the ball is snapped, they kind of back out of it. And I think unless St. John's makes an adjustment to go right at them, it's going to be confusing for a little while. But I'm looking for St. John's to make an adjustment toward that, Ed, and do something positive, because if they go right at them without trying to do anything, I think they have a better chance to pick up a minimum of 4 yards on first down.
The ambulance has now come out on the infield here by the track, so that is not good news for Dan Parker, the tight end for St. John's, who has been suffering a knee injury on that last play.
I think as you look at the injury, he had his, right there in front of you, right here at the point of attack, he had his knee, and the player went down on him and brought his leg back the other way. And that, even if it doesn't hurt, ooh, that looks ugly. But even if it is nothing wrong, it looks like something's got to be wrong, a ligament or something in there, because your knee is not supposed to give that way, Ed.
No, it isn't, and that's the serious kind of injury, and that's the kind of injury that is made even sometimes worse by artificial turf, but also the kind of injury you can suffer on grass, too. So, but it's a tough loss for St. John's, and certainly a tough loss for Dan Parker.
Absolutely, and our best wishes are to him and his family. I hope everything works out. Sometimes it looks worse on television than it actually is, and we hope for the best for him. But also, Ed, I think that sometimes when you get in the pack, that's probably when it's the most dangerous for both interior linemen, and the tight end is included in that.
A lot of times people trip over feet. It's not anything deliberate. Anybody's trying to do anything nasty in there or twist anything. You just trip over somebody's foot and go down the wrong way, and somebody falls on top of it.
Well, Ed, you know what I hope for is that maybe in years to come it could be like the Star Wars movie where a guy hurts his knee, he goes into halftime, puts on a new knee, and then comes on back. You know, we're getting into the modern technology of sports medicine. You never know what's going to happen.
Billy, I'm counting on that desperately right now for a lot of different parts to be replaced.
Well, then maybe I can make a comeback, Ed.
Well, let's not get carried away now.
Come on, Ed.
You're doing a better job here anyway, Bill. When you're through with your life, Bill, they're going to remember you as a broadcaster, not a football player.
I hope so. I hope so.
You'd be like Joe DiMaggio, got known to Mr. Coffee after a while. Young kids didn't know he was one of the greatest center fielders of all time. Parker being taken off on the golf cart now. And the good news, Bill, is he is not bent over or being helped off the field. He's talking with Kevin Christopher right now, our sideline reporter. Kevin trying to get an update on the situation as Parker will go out. He'll have some x-rays and probably an MRI if it's serious enough, and they'll find out pretty quickly what the problem is. Now for St. John's, 2nd down and 7 to go. 4:24 the clock running here in the first quarter. We are scoreless. Mark Levine is the quarterback for the Red Storm. This time he has time, Billy, and a little screen out to Anitra, the fullback on the left side. Anitra with a nice move gets the first down for St. John's out around the 35-yard line. So the Red Storm finds something that works offensively and gets a little elbow room too, Billy.
That was an outstanding call by Coach Bob Rickett and his staff. A screen is a very simple play to run. It's very conservative, and if you get the blocker out in front of you, it gives you a chance at least to gain some good yards. And nice job, I think, by Bob Rickett and his staff.
Let's go down to Kevin.
All right, gentlemen, I talked to Dan Parker just as they were taking him off the field on the golf cart, the injured tight end, and I asked him knee or ankle, and he said, I'll tell you it's my ankle, and I heard something crack.
Ugh, not a good sign, Kevin. First and 10 for St. John's is to give it off to Creighton that time as he tries a little slant play. Not much running room there, Billy, yes.
But the good thing is they said it was an ankle. An ankle is easier to come back on than a knee because a knee can put your career definitely in doubt.
A good point as the entire interior defensive line for Georgetown makes the stop. Parker now being prepared to go off. They're taking him on a stretcher right now, off the cart on the stretcher. He'll go by ambulance. I'm sure they're going to take him right to the hospital. So St. John's with a 2nd and 8 situation at their 37-yard line. They're going to go with a slot on the right and a wide receiver on the left. Georgetown again mixing their coverages. They drop back into pass coverage. This is where Levine is dangerous. He's got a first down. Nice completion, and running hard and shaking off tacklers is Aaron Hatwood. The 6'1", 195 senior, the Big East track star, is pulled down by Sam Wells, the junior out of Jackson, Mississippi for Georgetown. But it's a first down for the Red Storm at the 44-yard line of Georgetown.
As you look at the replay, they rolled out with a play action to the right, fooled the defensive end, came out and just kind of settled in. He had two receivers, one short and one deep, went to the deep one, Aaron Hatwood, and really a nice pickup and a good first down for St. John's.
The first time the Red Storm has moved into Georgetown territory in this game with a 1st and 10. That's the fullback trying to run the halfback. They faked it to Anitra. They gave it off to the halfback, trying to run for some yardage off the left side. Got a couple of yards where Tom Wanaka made the stop. Creighton carried the ball.
I thought he could have had a little bit more yardage, but the fullback, number 34, Nitro, he kind of got in the halfback's way. And when that happens, it really puts the halfback in a bad position, and I thought he could have got more yardage after that.
Well, they're looking for Anitra to do a better job blocking. Bob Rooker said Anitra does a lot of nice things for us, but he's got to block better if we're going to get Creighton going with the football, get him on track. Levine in trouble. Gets dumped back at the midfield stripe. As a good rush that time. A strong rush by Georgetown as two defenders came in, including the blitzing Tom Wanaka, the linebacker who leads this team with tackles and gets his 3rd sack of the season, does Mr. Wanaka.
As you look at the replay, they load the line of scrimmage with everybody, and there's nowhere for Levine to go. But what they've done to change up a little bit, they used to fake that blitz a couple times, Ed. This time they went at it, and I think maybe St. John's got a little complacent because they kept faking it. This time they went at it and put them in for a bad position.
Obviously a good time to come with the blitz because now the Red Storm faced with a 3rd and 13 situation at the 48-yard line of Georgetown. Looks over the middle and has it complete to Hatwood inside the 30. He may break a tackler, but he's dumped just across the 20 as Aaron Hatwood had a chance to go all the way. Hatwood showing his blazing speed before he's pulled down by Reed Roberti. The freshman left cornerback made the stop.
Ed, I thought that was beautiful. As you look at the replay, it is a straight drop back. They're playing a zone defense. He waits for them to clear the linebackers, puts the ball right on the money in the middle of the zone defense, and that's what you have to do against a zone. You need time to throw the ball, and you can find those little holes. Excellent job by Mark Levine.
On 1st and 10 for St. John's inside the 20. As they're trying to break a tackle, here's Creighton, and Creighton goes inside the 15-yard line. Nice that time play action by Levine with a little delay to the halfback, and Creighton gets some yards before he runs into Dan Cuniff and Chris Johnston. Johnston, the junior out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Anybody here?
It looks like St. John is trying to settle down a little bit. Their offense is really beginning to take charge now. Offensive line doing a good job. Creighton picked his hole really nice. It was a draw play and picked up a good 4 yards. Anytime you can do that, it puts your second down situations at a chance where you can do something offensively.
St. John's finally winning the battle of the line of scrimmage after Georgetown had dominated the line of scrimmage the first 7 or 8 minutes of this game. Here's Levine. In trouble. But he gets something out of nothing as he goes down around the 10-yard line. Again, Levine showing the good feet. Mark Levine out of Freeport, Long Island. The freshman runs into Joe Iacobacci, number 35, the 6-foot junior out of Port Orange, Florida.
What I liked about that, Ed, was as you look on the replay, he had time to throw, but there was nobody open, and instead of throwing the ball into a crowd, he tucked it away and just tried to do the best he could. Some pro quarterbacks don't do that well, Ed.
Now watch McPherson way out to the left there. He's the big playmaker for St. John's on 3rd and 2 at the Georgetown 10-yard line, and that is the end of the first quarter, so the drama of this play will have to wait a little bit as we're scoreless in the first quarter. Georgetown and St. John's. You're watching MAC football.
Well, what do you think?
About you or the new TV?
Football games are going to look great on this.
If you ever get to see one.
You know, I bought this at Nobody Beats the Wiz. The selection was unbelievable. There were so many things that I liked. Sony, Mitsubishi, RCA, JVC.
So, you got the right price. You got free home delivery. Why would you buy a TV anywhere but Nobody Beats the Wiz?
Okay. You were right.
Thank you.
Now give me back my remote.
Not a chance. You bought the TV. I own it.
All around the island, people everywhere celebrate a feeling we all so proudly share. There's nowhere we would rather be. There's nothing to compare. We hold you in a special place, far above the rest. Thank you for your warm embrace. Long Island, you deserve the best.
Our quest for the best has led to a glorious new Roosevelt Field. Shop our celebrated new stores such as Coach, J. Crew, The Nature Company, Sesame Street, Banana Republic, and Warner Brothers. At the new Roosevelt Field, our selection of stores soars above all others.
You deserve the best.
Long Island's best at Roosevelt Field.
For 12 long years, Mario Cuomo raised taxes, driving out jobs and opportunity. George Pataki has a detailed plan to cut personal income taxes and business taxes. And George Pataki will reduce local property taxes by using state lottery funds. Mario Cuomo's liberal tax and spend philosophy has failed. George Pataki for governor, because it's time for a change. George Pataki, the new governor New York needs.
Back here at St. John's University Field at the start of the second quarter, along with Billy Taylor, the BT Express, and Kevin Christopher. I'm Ed Ingalls. We're scoreless. With the Red Storm knocking at the goal line, they have it down at the Georgetown 10-yard line, but they're now faced with a 3rd and 2 situation.
Attention!
I think this is 2-down territory. If I were St. John's, since it's only 3rd and 2, I would go 2 times to get the first down, Ed.
I think they will, too, in this situation, as they go with a 3-wide receiver formation. They got a slot on the left side, but they go out of the backfield of Anitra and Creighton. They're going to let Creighton go with the first down, and I believe he's got it, Bill. I believe he picked up enough yardage on that one. Good power surge off the left side, gets the Red Storm a first down, but we'll wait for the official word.
That was behind Steve Campana and Dan Ryan. He cut in behind them and really got a good surge. When the offensive line does not allow penetration, it gives you a chance to have a surge for the first down.
Well, Camperly is a left guard, 5'11", 218 senior, and Dan Ryan, 6'2", 225 sophomore on the left side. Cleared the hole, and the Red Storm has a first down as they mark it down inside the 5-yard line for St. John's. And again with the 3-wide receiver formation, they go slot on the left side. This is Creighton. Stopped at the 3. Little pitch and sweep. Creighton trying to take it back a little bit. Brandon to Enrico Mariani, the junior nose guard from White Plains, in to make the stop.
And this is tough territory, Ed. This is the time when your offense and defensive lines really have to get a good surge. Whoever can get the penetration at the beginning usually can stop the other team, and that's what it comes down to. But they're 2nd down and 3, and this is a good opportunity for St. John's.
Well, let's see if Levine does a little rollout here, because he has the ability to run or throw off that rollout, and he's very quick. Of course, you start to run out of real estate down here when you want to throw the ball. Yeah, he's going to roll out. Got a man open. Touchdown! St. John's as he finds the big guy, Tom McPherson, with his 33rd career touchdown reception. That's a Hall of Fame performance.
It really is.
McPherson, 5'9", 159, the junior out of Valley Stream, Bill, and the Redmen, or the Red Storm, go on top.
As you look at the replay, they got penetration by the defensive line. Levine showed his athleticism by giving him a little bit stiff arm. Saw McPherson in the end zone, put the ball on the money, and 6 points for St. John. Excellent drive, excellent scoring opportunity led by Mark Levine.
McPherson wide open as the Georgetown secondary broke down after pressuring Levine. Fine throw by Levine, gets the touchdown, and here's Ledwith with the extra point. John Ledwith kicks it. It is good. So the Red Storm goes in front of the Hoyas 7-0 with 13:50 to go here in the first half. Well, it was a nice drive, Bill, as we saw St. John's mount their first drive after getting decent field position. They started that drive up at the 35-yard line and made it pay off.
Well, they were lucky because Georgetown's offense was moving the ball pretty well and missed a couple good opportunities because of mistakes and penalties. And as you look at the replay, the defensive line did get a penetration. He was able to, if they had got sacked right there, that would have thwarted the whole play. Levine kept his focus downfield, picked the ball right in McPherson's hand, and an excellent job by Mark Levine.
All right, let's go to our sideline man, Kevin Christopher.
Very significant for Bob Ricca's Red Storm to jump out on top 7-0, gentlemen, because I just spoke to the team physician, Dr. Steve O'Brien. Dan Parker, the tight end, did in fact fracture his ankle, and the doctor thinks he is done for the season. Back to you.
All right, Kevin. Yeah, I would think so. A fractured ankle is not something that heals very quickly, and it's a tough loss for the St. John's tight end who had been playing well.
But the positive thing about that, if it's a knee, it could be career-threatening, but with an ankle, he's got a chance to come back.
So you'll have twin receivers back there deep for Georgetown, as Jim Caesar will be to the near sideline, and Steve Iorio, the fine tailback, to the far sideline. Ledwith will kick off. Now remember, Georgetown has come back with reverses on these kickoffs, where they take the kick and they either give it to the other up back or they fake the handoff on the reverse to the deep man. John Ledwith will kick it off for the Red Storm with 13:50 to go here in the first half in this MAC game of the week. Not very deep. Coming up and letting it bounce and grabbing it, Iorio. There's that handoff as he gives it to Caesar. But that's not going to go very far out, just shy of the 30-yard line. But we told you they might come back with the handoff reverse on the kickoff, and they did. As handoff gets up a couple of yards, but Georgetown mounting a couple of drives, but yet to score. Goes 1st and 10 from their own 28 after a nice stop by Ken Forte for St. John's in that kickoff return.
This is a crucial series for Georgetown because their offense had been finding some things, but they hurt themselves by mistakes. Now they have to get together and counteract what St. John's has done.
Well, it's a young team, Bill. 24 of their 52 players who came up here are freshmen, and they're mistake-prone. That time the play did not develop very well as they gave it off to Iorio, but he could not find running room. That's the first time St. John's was able to penetrate Billy and drop him for a loss as Ferrara comes in to make the stop, leading the charge for St. John's.
As you look at the replay, you watch Anthony Ferrara step up in the hole and make the tackle. The defensive line of St. John's was able to get penetration, and they just make Iorio have to really put his head down.
Lost beyond the play, so 2nd and 11. 3 wide receivers for Georgetown. The slot is on the right. Little fake there. Rolling out his ring. Nice throw up the 40-yard line around the first down territory to Chris Coleman with a diving catch. The 5'10", 180-pound sophomore with a nice reception. Coleman makes his 11th catch of the season as he's stopped in there by Randolph Howard and Ken Ditzler.
As you look at the replay, you got a play-action fake. The halfback was able to pick up the linebacker on the other side. Bill Reed comes down, focuses, puts the ball right on the money. He had a receiver short and had a receiver coming across the middle. First down, Georgetown.
And again, Georgetown able to move the chains. They've been able to do that in this game, pick up some first downs, but not really sustain a drive. They're going from around the 40-yard line. This time the slot formation's on the left. Boom, and trying to go in there again. Iorio runs into a Red Storm tackler. That dive series. Ever tried some dives here, Bill? Straight ahead running with the tailback. Twice in a row, that does not work now.
As you look at the replay, this is how you get headaches. When the defensive line is able to come up and get penetration, and the running back hasn't had a chance to get going yet, that's when you want to raise your hand and come on out.
Especially when you run into somebody as big as Ray Lambright, the 6'2", 266-pound senior from St. John's, first-team All-MAC last year, who made the stop. So now Georgetown in a 2nd down and 10 situation. This time only 2 wide receivers. Here's Iorio on the sweep, a play that had worked well earlier, and that gets 7 yards on that as it works pretty well.
I think the only reason they run up the middle is to keep them honest. Their game plan has been to get outside all day because once they feel they can get outside, they feel Iorio has the talent and the quick feet to make the cuts to get positive yardage. The thing is I see right now is once Iorio gets his body square to the line of scrimmage, he can make positive yards, and he showed right then that once he gets outside, he's dangerous.
He's tough in the secondary. Iorio with 10 carries for 40 yards. Now it is a 3rd and 3 situation for Georgetown. 11:15 to go here in the first half. This is Ring back to pass. Has a man running free, but it's deflected away. A nice defensive player. Leaping through the air was Ken Ditzler, the free safety, to knock it away from Chris Coleman. Good play then by Ditzler, Billy.
Yes, it was, and it showed you, but I think the ball had a little bit too much air time because the receiver was open a little bit quicker, but Ring took a little bit of time to get rid of it. He is a young quarterback, and I think that he's going to do nothing but get better.
So Georgetown has missed a couple of long passing opportunities. O'Leary will wait for Piscatella's punt. That's a good one. That's a very fine kick by Piscatella, who has struggled with his punting game this year, but that time he really boomed it. So it's a 54-yard kick for Piscatella. That will improve his average, which is around 31.5 this year. So with 11 minutes to go in the first half, it's St. John's 7, Georgetown nothing, and you're watching MAC football.
When the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference basketball season revs into high gear this winter, all eyes will be on the prize in Albany as the Marine Midland MAC Championship Tournament returns to Knickerbocker Arena March 3rd through the 6th. Make your plans and purchase your tickets now for 4 exciting days of March Madness as the MAC men and women fight for the conference crown and a trip to the NCAA tournament. For tournament information, call 518-487-2000. The Marine Midland MAC basketball tournament returns to Albany, New York, March 3rd through the 6th.
Here come those hippies again.
Test 1, 2, Jack.
Is that you, Sunflower?
Place hasn't changed in 25 years.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, they should have put in some condos by now.
Joe, remember when we did this 25 years ago?
Country Joe McDonald.
No.
Wouldn't it be nice if your youth was as easy to hold on to as an ice cold Pepsi?
You think they'll go skinny dipping again? I hope not.
At Premier Car Rental, we specialize in replacing your stolen or damaged car. We offer free delivery of your rental car wherever you need it, home office or repair shop, and we'll pick it up too. Our courteous customer service professionals will provide you with friendly, hassle-free service and have you on the road in minutes. Premier Car Rental offers 95 and 94 models, compact to full-size, and minivans too, with rates starting as low as $24.99 a day. Ask about our weekly and weekend special rates. To reserve your car today, call 1-800-340-RENT. And remember, Premier Service is no accident.
We're back here at St. John's University. First down and 10 for the Red Storm, leading 7-0 over Georgetown. St. John's goes from their own 20-yard line. Nice face by Levine. He has a man open out here, but the pass is out of bounds, caught but was too far and took McPherson out of bounds for the catch. So it'll be second down and 10 for St. John's.
That's really a hard pass to throw because he's rolling the opposite way his arm is and trying to throw across the field. It's really, your arm is really not supposed to do that. Usually a left-handed quarterback can do that. Maybe Boomer Esiason can describe how to do that. But that's a tough pass to throw, and the receiver was wide open, but Levine just threw it a little bit too far.
Yeah, McPherson was trying to drag his feet to keep it in bounds, but really had no chance. In college ball, you only have to keep 1 foot in bounds. So it's second and 10 for the Red Storm. Again from the slot on the right, with McPherson out to the left. Bad pitch for Creighton. Levine chasing after it. A big pileup. Let's see who's got it. Levine knew he'd made a bad pitch and immediately turned around and raced back for it. But this is a tough football to come on when it's rolling around down there to see who's going to recover. Both Georgetown and St. John's are signaling they recovered. Let's see who's right. As they unpile a big pile down around the St. John's goal line, near the 5-yard line. St. John's did recover. All right. Big loss, but they hang on to the football, Bill.
As you look at the replay, Georgetown looked as if they were going to blitz, and he really, the running back should have had the ball, and that situation should not happen when you're down in that part of the country because that hurts your offense.
So it brings up a second down or third down situation since the first down pass was incomplete. And they've got to go out to the 30-yard line for first down, so call it third down and 26 for the Red Storm as they come slot left, running out of the eye. Levine is calling the signals. More people jumping all over the place as the flag as Georgetown was changing its defense, but either they came too quickly or they forced the Red Storm to move on all that jumping around. Looks like the penalty's against St. John's. Yep.
But it really doesn't matter down here because you can't go too far. But the thing that St. John's has to watch out for, they must get enough room so that the punter can get the ball away. He needs 15 yards from the ball to be able to punt the ball out of there, and they need to do something to at least get him a few more yards so he won't get nervous or happy feet.
Now that illegal procedure penalty moves St. John's back to the 2, and they have to go to the 30 here as they come with the slot formation on the left side and the solo receiver on the right with one setback. Levine will try a sneak to give him a little room, gets out around the 6-yard line as he picks up 4 yards by punching off the right guard, but fourth down is here, and now the pressure will go on the St. John's punter, Steve D'Amicis.
This is a game of momentum, and it seems like St. John's had the momentum, but I think that negative play when they were able to pitch the ball back and nobody was there, I think that hurt them. The momentum now could go with Georgetown. They have to see what they can do with it.
So D'Amicis has to kick from the back end of the end zone. To punt it away to one man waiting for it is Chris Sapenza. Well, the snap is good, but the kick is a low line drive. Sapenza waiting for it to settle down and walks away from it. It'll be down around the St. John's 35-yard line, so Georgetown gets excellent field position with 9:12 to go here in the second quarter after that wobbly 30-yard kick by D'Amicis, who looked like he was hitting a 2-iron then instead of a football, didn't he?
And he didn't get that 2-arm up enough. He didn't get that one up enough.
Looks like one of my 9-irons, quite frankly, the way he hit it.
They got great field position. Now Georgetown really has got to take advantage. They know what they can do offensively. They know that they cannot run inside against this tough St. John's defense, so they got to get it out wide or play action.
So St. John's has been in this dilemma before with Georgetown. This is the third time Georgetown's had the ball in pretty good field position in St. John's territory. They go first and 10 from the 35-yard line. They try to run up the middle with Iorio, but that's not a place he's found much room tonight. He's been much better going outside. When he's trying to go inside, they've stacked him up as Steve Iorio carrying found very little running room. Stopped on the play by Anthony Ferreira.
As you look at the replay, Dombrowski and Ray Lambright get great penetration, and that is exactly what hurts a running play, because they should forget the middle. Just keep them honest and try to keep outside, because that's where they've been getting the yardage all day. They're in plus territory. They got to make something happen for Georgetown right now.
Why can't they fake the up bat into the line and pitch back to the tailback? I mean, that's one way to go in this situation. There's the pitch to Iorio, and again he finds running room as he gets the first down inside the 25-yard line. He really skates, Billy, when he gets to the corner. Walter DeForest, the middle linebacker for St. John's, their best tackler, made the stop finally, but not before. Iorio moves the chains, and Georgetown takes it down to the St. John's 21-yard line.
As you look at the replay, the fullback gets a good block, allows Iorio to turn inside, where he turns on the speed, knows where the first down marker is, shows good balance, and picks it up. That's what they have to do to Iorio. Keep him outside, only go inside just to keep St. John's honest.
Iorio now 12 carries for 53 yards. They mark at the St. John's 23. Nice play action there by the quarterback, but he's being chased. Ring fires and throws it away. As we said, that's something he does pretty well, Billy. When he gets in trouble, Ring knows well enough to throw it away, just get out of harm's way and get rid of the football and not get any damage. Either avoid the sack and make sure you don't throw the interception.
Bill Ring is a cool customer, because the defensive lineman was chasing him, looked like he was about to catch him. Bill Ring showed his poise. There was nobody open. He knew that he probably would have negative yardage, and showed the poise of a veteran by throwing it out of bounds.
And Walt DeForest, the middle linebacker for St. John's, again putting the pressure on. So now it's 2nd down and 10 for the Hoyas at the Red Storm 23-yard line. They go from a slot on the right and a one wide receiver on the left. The deep back is still Iorio. You won't see them give the ball to the fullback very often, and that time they do, but there's a penalty because I think you're going to catch the fullback moving too quickly on that play, as Greg Wyszynski tried to get off in a hurry and ran into Randolph Howard. Let's see if that comes back. That's the first time that Wyszynski has carried the ball. Greg Wyszynski is a freshman, a tight end, who, when they ran out of fullbacks at Georgetown this week, said to Coach Benson, he said, "Let me be the fullback this week, Coach. I'll be your fullback."
Well, as you look at the replay, he started out too quickly because he's not used to carrying the ball. Sometimes when they call your number and it has been a long time since you've been able to get it, you're a little nervous now, and I think that's exactly what happened.
I know that feeling. 3rd down and 10. For the Hoyas of Georgetown, with St. John's up 7-0. This time they're going to put Iorio, Bill, out as a flanker on the left side. This Ring wants a little rollout. Bombs away. Nobody there. Had to overthrow it. The defense covered well as Chris Coleman could not clear the secondary. There were 2 deep backs preventing Coleman from getting open in the end zone. So St. John's defense turns away the Hoyas. But let's see what Georgetown will go for the field goal here. Georgetown has a kicker who has a strong foot, but that is Brendan Gaughan, but he has not kicked that well this year. But they're going to go for it. It'll be a field goal try from the 29-yard line, so call it 39 yards. Gaughan is a left-footed kicker, and he bangs it. It is good. So getting his touchback and making that one behave correctly is the field goal kicker for Georgetown as they get on the board on a nice kick by Brendan Gaughan, who has his first field goal this year and his 5th attempt. So with 7:33 to go in the first half, it is St. John's 7, Georgetown 3.
Ed, I thought it was important for Georgetown to get on the board because they got the ball with outstanding field position. And as you look at the replay on the field goal, the offensive line didn't allow penetration, gave him time to kick. The left-footed kicker puts it right through the uprights. It's important for them to get on the board because they had good field position, and that could give them a little bit of momentum. Plus, it gives their defense a chance to go out and stop them and get the ball back for the offense.
Now, builds a little confidence with the young team, and we keep reiterating that Georgetown has 24 freshmen on their 52-man traveling squad, and Coach Benson said one of the things I have to convince these players how to overcome adversity, and number 2, they have to learn how to win, and that's the growing process, and that's why Georgetown probably is 1-2 at this stage instead of 2-1.
But a lot of people think that Georgetown has a lot of potential because they have these young players on their team, and they should be good for years to come because they're building something with those freshmen.
So Gaughan will kick it off to Delaney and Hatwood. And Hatwood is the man who's chasing it down and catches it at the 5-yard line. He's the speedster, the Big East champion sprinter. Doesn't find the running room to turn on the Jets there. Gets knocked out of bounds at the 23-yard line by Sam Wells, the cornerback.
And you cannot run a kickoff like that. You got to get up into the line as quickly as you can.
Let's go downstairs now to our sideline man, Kevin.
All right, Ed, thanks. I think that you're going to see some of that stuff underneath Nitra now that St. John's has the football. Next time Georgetown gets the ball, I was watching Sean O'Halloran kind of dressing down his offensive line, particularly center Steve Colello. He said, don't you ever let that number 47 push you on your butt again. And that would be Walt DeForest, number 47, the senior linebacker for the Red Storm. And we like him, don't we, Ed, because he likes to hit people.
Yes, he does. He's the best defensive player St. John's had against the Marist game last Saturday, and picked up right there where he left off on a little inside handoff to Anitra, the fullback, who tries to struggle for a couple of yards then. That's a play we have not seen St. John's run tonight. Up to make the stop was Tom Wanaka, the linebacker for Georgetown, who leads the team in tackles, an outstanding linebacker for the Hoyas.
As you look at it, it was kind of a counter-attack where they give it, the quarterback spins all the way around. Now, he was able to pick up those yards on his own because at the point of attack, there was very little blocking.
Though Rico Griggs, the former Army man, 4 years in the Army, the 6'1", 270-pound freshman, left tackle, did get a decent block that time to help pick up 4 yards of the play. So it's 2nd down and 6 for the Red Storm as they try to go out across the 30. This is Creighton. He has blockers, but he falls down, had trouble, tripped over somebody there, Billy. Had a chance to make a big play on that.
Yes, I think what Georgetown was trying to do, fake the blitz. They backed off a little bit too much. And as you look on the replay, he had a big hole to run through. I think that he probably tripped over one of his linemen, got caught with their feet. Yes, he did, got caught with their feet. And in college football, once your knee touches, you're down.
So now it's a 3rd down and 4 situation for St. John's as they come with double slot formation. 2 wide receivers right, 2 wide receivers left. Georgetown is showing a 3-man rush line. Knocked down the line of scrimmage. Levine never got, just a short 3-step drop, and never really had a chance to launch that one because Mike Fioriotto made the stop, knocked the ball down, was intended for John O'Leary.
I thought it was an excellent job of getting their hands up because I thought the offensive line of St. John's did a good job of not allowing penetration. If that happens, you get your hands up. They're well taught and well coached, and they really took away the 3rd down situation.
So 4th down is here. Sapenza waits for the punt from D'Amicis. St. John's leading Georgetown 7-3, 6:04 to go in the first half, and a beautiful night for football. Good snap, but there's a flag. Line drive punt will go over Sapenza's head. He'll just let it go, but let's see if that'll come back because a flag was tossed back at the line of scrimmage as the ball is down to the Georgetown 25-yard line. But as the late Red Barber used to say, hold the phone, a 44-yard punt.
If it's against Georgetown, it's a 1st down for St. John's.
Illegal procedure is the call against St. John's, so they'll do it over again, Bill. As the Redmen will kick it away 5 yards deeper this time on a 4th down situation. I'm sure D'Amicis says, gee, I wish that one had counted because that was one of his better punts. On the year, he is averaging, 38 yards a kick, so Steve D'Amicis has done a good job for St. John's as a punter. Georgetown has threatened several times in this game and only able to convert on a field goal. The Red Storm had 1 scoring opportunity, and they made it pay off with 7 points. So D'Amicis will kick it away from the line of scrimmage around the 30. Sapenza waits for it back at the 35-yard line. He is respecting D'Amicis' toe here, Billy, as he is very deep for this punt. Another good snap. This punt not quite as good, but Sapenza has a chance, takes it to the 43-yard line and gets Georgetown in good field position. Hoyas go 1st and 10 at their 48-yard line after a 33-yard punt. So it's St. John's 7, Georgetown 3, 5:25 to go in the first half, and you're watching MAC football.
In a world of conflict, we bring peace through understanding. In a world of economic distress, we bring prosperity through learning. In a world of ignorance, we bring knowledge through advanced technology and brilliant teachers. In a world of despair, we bring hope to thousands. In this complex world, the solution is education for the mind, the heart, and the soul. Duquesne University.
Back here at St. John's University Field, it's St. John's 7, Georgetown 3. Hoyas go 1st and 10 from their 47-yard line. And Bill, Georgetown's had good field position this first half.
Yeah, they have, and I think that has really kept them in a hole because they haven't been able to take care of their third down situations. What's really bad is the penalties that they've got has really taken the momentum away from them. If you think about it, they should be up 14-7 because of 2 chances they've missed for scoring.
Yeah, penalties have been very damaging, as this time they go with the backup tailback, Tedesco. He gets across the midfield, picks up about 3 yards on the play, as Joe Tedesco, 5'8", 180 freshman from Homedale, New Jersey. And they describe the difference between he and Iorio as Tedesco's a little quicker and Iorio a little stronger. Steve Dombrowski made the stop for St. John's.
Yeah, but it gives you a change up in your offense. You can bring somebody in who's got quicker feet, bring another guy who's got speed to get to the corner. But what St. John's has done, they brought the safety of Steve Demiscus to be able to take away that sweep, and they've done a good job of stopping Georgetown so far.
Demiscus is a very good safety. He's the main man back there for St. John's in the rushing play, as there's some movement on the line of scrimmage. Anthony Ferrara for St. John's got in the neutral zone, but let's see if they called it on Georgetown. Maybe somebody moved to the line of scrimmage. Yep, illegal procedure against the Hoyas, and again, they've hurt themselves with their 4th penalty of the night for 35 yards, and they've come really at inopportune times, too, Bill.
Absolutely, because Georgetown has really done a good job offensively the entire game. Anytime that they've been stopped, usually it's because they have made the mistakes. And I think that is what hurts any offense, because I think everybody's got to be on the same page at the same time. And they're good enough to compete with St. John's. It's just that when you make the little mistakes, it takes your offense too far back to be able to make the first down.
Yeah, you're faced with a lot of 2nd down and 13 situations like they have now, or 3rd and 15. Here's St. John's off the blitz. Ring with a beautiful throw, but underthrew just a little bit. Lucky he got away at all as he tried to hit Chris Coleman, the wide receiver. Underthrown a little bit. Good pressure then time by St. John's, who came with a blitz.
Well, Steve Galileo, the center, tried to do a good job of coming back to block, and he almost got a penalty because number 79, Ray Lambret, had Bill Ring in his sight. But as you look at the replay, number 79, Lambright had Bill Ring in his sights, but the center almost tried to hold him, but I think the referee kind of let that one go because he could have called a holding penalty on almost every single play.
Lambright, the all-MAC defensive tackle for St. John's, and Georgetown is a 3rd and 13, and Ring with a little play action. The lanky quarterback. Beautiful throw, but overshot the intended receiver. Nice spiral, but Rob Rosenthal would have had to be about, 10 feet taller and 2 seconds faster to get to that one, I think.
Well, they've had a tough night trying to convert the 3rd down situations. They've had 3rd and long so many times where it takes you really a lot of yardage to be able to pick it up. So I think that they have to do something offensively to keep their 3rd down situations to a minimum.
Billy, I don't want you to worry, but your replacement is now in the booth, and we'll tell you about that in a minute as Piscatella kicks it away for Georgetown. Nice kick. Atwood fields it inside the 20. This is O'Leary fielding it, and O'Leary's down at the 22-yard line, so St. John's will go 1st and 10 for their own 22 on that punt of 35 yards. And with 4:06 to go in the first half, the Red Storm back in possession again, leading Georgetown 7-3. Stepping in our booth, the erstwhile quarterback of the New York Jets, Boomer Esiason, who will join us tonight for a few minutes to shed some light where there's darkness on this game, and with nothing to do with the lights either. All right, so St. John's with a 1st and 10 situation. 2 wide receivers, 1 to the right, 1 to the left. Georgetown, their basic 5-2 defense. Here's Creighton with a flag toss, trying to get around the corner. Gets about 6 yards, but let's see what the call is. Looks like the penalty was at the line of scrimmage. Chasing him down, Joe Yakabaki. The junior from Port Orange, Florida, made the stop, but let's see if the play stands. St. John's has been very careful tonight in terms of penalties, Bill.
Yeah, they've done a good job, and I think that's a good tribute to Coach Bob Ricca, because he's got these guys at least playing disciplined football. And I think if you don't make mistakes, it gives you at least a chance to be in almost every single game. But the thing is, they haven't got their running game together. Jermaine Creighton really hasn't got untracked yet, and they were trying to feature him getting outside today to be able to come back up the middle. So we'll see how they do that. And if Creighton gets untracked and the offensive line gets going, I think it's all over for Georgetown.
He's the key man for the Redmen as they go now on a 1st down situation and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. The 3rd time the Red Storm has been penalized in this game. Levine is back to throw with plenty of time. Intercepted at the 30-yard line, and a beautiful pickoff by Georgetown. Firing over the middle, and the Hoyas come up with the interception in the football with a 1st down and 10 situation deep in St. John's territory.
He read the quarterback's eyes on that one because the receiver kind of slowed down as he was going into his break. Chris Johnson broke on the ball. Outstanding interception. Good job for Georgetown. And it was a situation, as you watched the replay, Mark Levine stepped up, put the ball pretty much in the money, but the receiver came out of his break a little bit too slow. Chris Johnson was able to step in front of him and pick up a big play for Georgetown. They've got to do something now. They're at the plus 28, 29-yard line. They have to do something now because their defense has been on the field virtually all day.
That's the 7th interception that the freshman quarterback from Freeport, Levine, has thrown this year. There's the bobble by Tedesco, but he picks it up and off he goes inside the Georgetown. Running back gets it down into St. John's 19-yard line. Got the nice bounce there. Billy came right back up in his hands.
Well, this isn't Billy, but I'll tell you what, it really looked good.
Gee, funny, I couldn't tell the difference. All right, I'm sure most everybody has heard that voice. If you haven't, that's Boomer Esiason, the Jets quarterback, who is here for a special reason tonight, which we'll tell you about in a moment. So a big pickup there on the bounce, gets a 9-yard gain, makes it 2nd down and 1 for Georgetown at the St. John's 20-yard line. Wide receiver right, wide receiver left. Ring wants to throw. He has a completion inside the 10-yard line, but the catch is Rob Rosenthal, their best receiver, Boomer. He's the man who's the #1 guy in terms of catching the football for the Hoyas.
Well, look good, real good right there, but I'll tell you what, they're staying away from Steve Demiscus, and I have a very special place in my heart for him. He's from East Islip.
That's right.
So my eyes have been glued on 17 all night, and I'll tell you what, he's a true East Islip football player. He's not shying away from any contact whatsoever.
I guess you've gathered by now that Boomer Esiason spent a little time at East Islip, which is a football hotbed on Long Island here in New York. And so now for Georgetown with a 1st down situation, they're going to try Tedesco, but that time he did not find running room as he's hit behind the 10-yard line. And that Ken Ditzler, the free safety, along with Randolph Howard, the linebacker, diagnosed that beautifully, Boomer.
But why were they able to make the tackle? Because number 17 took on the lead blocker. That's why. Steve Demiscus, once again, the MVP of the St. John's Red Storm defense.
I think you got a new job, public relations director.
Of course. I'm pushing this kid for the Heisman.
Now, that would be a trick.
And why not?
They don't give Heismans to the 1AA players. They have a different name for it. But
isn't there a guy by the name of Air McNair playing pretty well?
Oh, he's doing pretty well, yeah.
Everybody's ready to give him the Heisman.
He's down to yes, he's an excellent player. That's a nice defensive play by St. John's. It's the big guy, DeForest, who's really the best defensive player St. John's has had in terms of tackling, gets in on Ring and dumps him back at the 25-yard line, Boomer.
You can take a look on the replay right here. One of the reasons that he's able to do this is a blitz right up the middle. They have a lineman pulling, trying to give him a little leeway around the corner, but unfortunately the linebacker comes up the middle where the lineman left from, and he's able to hit an unsuspecting quarterback, which is the worst way you feel when you're back there.
You know about that situation occasionally, huh?
Well, I've been in the league for 11 years, and it's happened quite a few times, more than I'd like to talk about.
3rd and long for Georgetown as they go for the whole enchilada, and it's caught down at the 1-yard line, and then let's see what the signal is. They're going to rule it a catch on a magnificent grab by Rob Rosenthal as he takes it down to the St. John's 3-yard line. A beautiful catch, a lovely throw by the quarterback, connecting Billy Ring.
Billy Ring threw the ball right there in between the seams. It's a nice throw. You can see Ring dropping back here. It's a 2-deep coverage. You can see number 42 in the background trying to mirror Ring's eyes. He's too deep. There goes the first crosser, and in behind comes the second crosser. And now the safety comes back after jumping on that first crossing pattern. So it's a nice job by Ring and a heck of a catch and a way to hold on to the ball in contact.
Boomer Esiason, New York Jets quarterback, why are you here tonight other than the fact that you like football?
Well, the great University of St. John's has asked me to come here and accept a check to the Boomer Esiason Heroes Foundation for cystic fibrosis. Part of the proceeds tonight from ticket sales will help me and my family and all families across the country continue our fight to find the cure for cystic fibrosis. And when we got the call 3 weeks ago from St. John's, well, I was just thrilled to come over here and get a chance to see this. And this is really quite a spectacle. They really know how to do their football here, and they're giving back to me and the community. And it's really been a special pleasure for me to come here.
Before you leave, are you going to play Sunday against Indianapolis with that gimpy ankle?
Well, right now it doesn't look too good. I didn't take any snaps in practice today. I'm not going to do much tomorrow, and then we'll have to wait and see Sunday morning how I feel. But Jack Trudeau has been brought here for situations just like this, and he really didn't get a real chance last week. I mean, he spent a lot of time running around, and when he did get the team moving, unfortunately, we had a turnover and a few penalties. So, right now it looks like he'll be the starter, and I'll be ready to go on the sideline if I have to. And I've been grilled on the radio all day today about whether I was going to play and how smart it would be, but we'll wait and see then.
Well, Boomer, you can't play on a bad ankle. Let's face it.
Well, I tried to make the analogy to Brian Leach skating backwards, trying to defend, say, a Wayne Gretzky or a Pavel Bure, and I'll tell you that's what it's like in the pocket every now and then. But you need to have both ankles to be able to move around.
So, Boomer, we've got a critical situation here for Georgetown with 1:08 to go in the first half. They did not make the.
Well, you know what they would have done back in
They did make it. They brought it in. Chain gang said they made it.
Well, what they would do right here, back in 1945, they'd run the ball right behind my dad because that's where he went to school at Georgetown. So
they got to go with the full house backfield here, and the quarterback sneak. Down goes Ring, and a touchdown for Georgetown. The quarterback, the 6'3", 180-pound Bill Ring, the sophomore out of Jenkinstown, Pennsylvania, takes it in from a yard out. And Boomer Esiason, thank you very much for joining us. I know you have to go downstairs for the halftime.
Well, it was my pleasure for being here, and I'd just like to publicly thank St. John's for really making an indentation in my fight against cystic fibrosis and joining me. 4th and one in my house is a whole different story than 4th and 1 out on the football field.
I know it is. And there we see the play as they get in for the touchdown. Ring carries it off the sneak, and Georgetown grabs the lead here, 9-7. There's Boomer Esiason joining us, and his dad played at Georgetown. I'm sure it was a little good luck joining us as while he was doing the color. The Hoyas got in the end zone. Here's the extra point try. Puts it gone all right between the uprights, and Georgetown has a 10-7 lead over the Red Storm with 64 seconds to go here in the first half. So Georgetown has come back after threatening, and a big pass play. Ring to Rosenthal sets up that play. And Georgetown now has the lead for the first time tonight, 10-7. Again, they're running out of the full house backfield. They line up, and the quarterback just hands it off, and boom, in goes the big fullback as he carries it in to score for the touchdown for Georgetown. So, Georgetown now will kick it off, and St. John's with only 64 seconds left here in the first half. And Billy Taylor, it's nice to hear Boomer, but I'm glad to have you back too, partner.
Well, Boomer looked good, too, and he felt very comfortable. You know when his career is over, you know what he's going to be doing.
Oh, yes, he's been practicing, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. I thought he handled himself very well in lieu of the negativity of the Jets. And I think it's too early for fans to be negative toward him because you're not even halfway through.
Yeah, this is a tough town, though. When you win your first 2, then people expect so much, and you lose your next 3. It doesn't take long to turn on you in this town. It's a now town, is New York City and the suburbs. So here's the kickoff from Gone. Upman drops the ball back at the 25-yard line, retrieves it, and tries to get out for a little yardage across the 30-yard line, where he's pulled down, and St. John's will go 1st and 10 from their 31-yard line.
It always shocks me, Ed, when an up man gets the ball because they're usually the interior blockers trying to get the running back or something, some room to run through. When they get the ball, they try to think they have speed, and they always try for the outside, and they should just kind of hold on to the ball and try to get as much as they can.
So St. John's now with 55 seconds left in the first half will try to get something going as they go 1st and 10 from their 31-yard line. Georgetown obviously will be looking for some long throws here by the Red Storm, but this set is Creighton. Find a little running room as he goes out across the 35-yard line with the clock running, where Tom Yannicka, the 5'11" junior from Staten Island, makes a stop for Georgetown.
They're in that hurry-up offense, Ed.
Greg Reddick was the man who brought back the kickoff for St. John's. 2nd down and 5 to go for the Red Storm. Complete and out of bounds after making the catch is McPherson, who already has made a big catch tonight.
But the good thing, he picks up the first down with the little out pattern, plus the fact he stops the clock, and it gives them a chance to at least line up and do something. They're on about the 38-yard line, Ed, which means that they've got to do anything. Their offense is capable of doing it because now they have good field position. Even if you throw a long interception, it's not going to hurt you right now.
Now, they've got time to launch a couple of long aerial bombs here with 29 seconds to go up at their own 39-yard line. And Levine has got the arms to launch a couple of rockets as they go with a double slot. 2 wide receivers. Now they take a receiver out. They go slot right or wide receiver left. Nice fake by Levine as he turns the corner and heads to go out of bounds around the midfield stripe, and we're down to 23 seconds. A nice bootleg there off a nice block that time by John Anitra, who Bob Ricker had said has to block better. And that time Anitra, the fullback for St. John's, did.
We allowed Levine to get to the corner. And I think what's so positive is Levine made the right decision. He could have run the ball or passed it. He did a good job of tucking it away, picking up a first down, and getting out of bounds to stop the clock.
So the ball now is at Georgetown 48-yard line with 22 seconds to go in the first half. First down for the Red Storm. McPherson, the chief threat for St. John's, is on the right, but the speech to Hatwood is a flanker on the left. So they've got the people to go deep on this play. Let's see if they do. Yes, they are. McPherson behind the secondary pass is tipped, knocked out of his hands a second time. That was a fine defensive play by Sam Wales, number 2, as he knocked it away from McPherson. This is going to be interesting to watch on the replay, if we have a replay here. Billy?
As you see the replay, it was a straight drop back by Levine. Just was a straight fly pattern. He put the ball exactly where you should be. And Sam Wales almost makes the no mistake by trying to catch the ball. He tipped the ball, tried to get it back, and was able to I think, really, if you think about it, McPherson should have had the pass.
The ball bounced off McPherson's numbers, and when he bounced off his numbers, Wales went for it for a second time like a ping pong ball, and this time got the job done.
But McPherson should have had that ball, because anytime it hits you in the chest, I think you got to get your hands up.
Yeah, especially when the speed of the ball is deflected by Wells. He broke up the fastball and changed it into kind of a changeup, which may be what was the trouble. The ball loses so much speed off it that sometimes it's hard for the receiver to readjust from a fastball to a slow ball, much like a baseball hitter. Oh, let's go down to Kevin Christopher on the sidelines.
You know, Ed, I was watching Tom McPherson on the last offensive possession by Georgetown. McPherson on the sidelines here just incensed at the fact, and he's telling his coaching staff, I can get 5 and 7 on that out pattern all night long. Give it to me. Obviously now, time is short. They're going to have to go deep, but I think that's something to watch in the second half.
I think you're right, Kevin. Kevin Christopher shedding some good light on the game plan from St. John's. Always helps to have somebody on the sidelines. Billy doesn't. It makes a big difference.
That's exactly right. He makes our job a lot easier. Good job, Kevin.
So now with 15 seconds to go in the first half, St. John's may be ready to crank up another rocket launcher here, as they have the slot on the left side on a second down. Yes, Levine wants to go on top. And almost intercepted. Nice play by the defensive back, Joe Yakabachi, number 35, the junior out of Port Orange, Florida. The pass was intended for Tom McPherson.
That was almost a completion. The ball was a little bit underthrown, but the defensive backfield has to understand that they stay as deep as the deepest man on offense. I saw a St. John's receiver a little bit deeper. That should never happen in a situation like this when you're trying to run out the clock.
Now, especially when you're playing that deep zone, which you're in right now, with 9 seconds to go on third down for St. John's. They'll put the slot formation on the left, and Levine, the quarterback,
and this
ready
time
to load it up again. Yeah, Bill.
This time they got a deep man way out there.
But O'Leary's the man over the middle. He fumbles the ball. It's rolling loose and goes out of bounds at the Georgetown 40 with 2 seconds to go. It should be ruled a completion to O'Leary, as Dan Cuniff was the defensive back that stripped the ball from O'Leary. So St. John's will have one more shot here with 2 seconds to go from the Georgetown 41-yard line, but the Hoyas lead the Red Storm 10-7.
We'll have to see what adjustment they make at halftime, because as Kevin Christopher is talking about, they do have the underneath stuff. And I see that even during the course of the game, Georgetown was given a lot of cushion at both corners. So at the half, I think St. John's got to make that adjustment to come back underneath.
Well, we talked about that before the game, and we talked about it in the very early part of the game, the fact that the Georgetown defense is susceptible to the underneath throws in that umbrella defense. Here's the pressure. That time they got him. That time they nailed him on a strong rush by Yanni Corey, number 96, the 230-pound freshman from White Plains, as the first half comes to an end. An entertaining first half, with the Georgetown Hoyas leading the St. John's Red Storm by a score of 10-7. You're watching MAC Football.
This week on Siskel and Ebert.
I do believe
to his left. He was able to show his athleticism by giving a little bit of a stiff arm to the defensive end, threw a perfect strike to McPherson, and got St. John's on the board for a touchdown. That was a good drive and a good pass by Levine. Good catch by McPherson.
All right, a 4-yard touchdown toss and a good block, too, by Dan Ryan, the offensive left tackle. to keep the defender off of Levine's back so he could make that pass for the touchdown. Certainly, Georgetown had enough opportunities the first half, Billy, before they finally cashed in. They were down 7-0. They came back, kicked a field goal of 39 yards by Gone, and then they got the touchdown to put them in front when Iorio went in from 2 yards out. What do you see there on these premier car rental stats that jumps out at you, Bill?
I see that Georgetown really outgained St. John's in every statistical category. More yards rushing, passing, first downs, and they're equal in turnovers. I think what hurts St. John's is their inability to be able to crack through on third down situations. Georgetown, on the other hand, they hurt themselves by penalties because every time they got good field position, they set their offensive system back by having some penalties. But I think that they showed later in the second quarter that they can overcome them by taking the lead.
And certainly Georgetown doing what they wanted to do, that was to control the football. Their coach, Bob Benson, told me, he said, we want to come out, control the football, move it on the ground, keep it away from those big playmakers for St. John's. And they've done that with 27 offensive running plays to St. John's 13. So Georgetown has done double what the Red Storm has been able to do on the ground tonight, Bill.
And I thought Georgetown, as you look on the replay, Georgetown did a good job running the ball, went up inside, got the touchdown. Iorio really showed you why he knows where that goal line is, and he was able to be the difference in the game. I thought he did a good job running the ball outside today.
Yes, he did. The Georgetown showing the ability to turn the corners on St. John's, but not really able to run inside. Be interesting to see who makes the adjustments in the second half. I think here's where coaches make a big difference. Close game. Both coaches have a lot of decisions to make at halftime. Maybe the coach, Bob Bricker, 17 years at St. John's. Bob Benson, 2 years at Georgetown. Let's see who makes the big adjustments here in the second half. That may well decide this game.
Well, Benson's a young coach, and he's got a lot of young freshman players playing that are getting a lot of experience. They've been getting good yards outside. I'm anxious to see what Georgetown continues to do and St. John's does to prevent Iorio from getting to the outside. Every time he gets outside and gets his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, he's getting a positive 4 yards.
And he's fun to watch.
Yes, he is.
Time now for the Pepsi Max Scholar Athlete of the Week. This week's Pepsi Max Scholar Athlete is Georgetown's outstanding defensive end, Jim Klessel, a 6'4", 220-pound senior from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Klessel is enjoying a fine year, having already recorded 14 tackles on the year, including 9 for losses, totaling 40 yards. He also leads the Hoyas with 4.5 sacks. One of Georgetown's tri-captains, the 3-year starter is also a leader in the classroom, holding a 3.044 grade point average in accounting. Klessel will work for Ernst & Young, a Big Six accounting firm, upon his graduation in May.
Here come those hippies again.
Beautiful night for football, and the players match the weather. It's been a very entertaining first half with the Hoyas of Georgetown going in front of St. John's 10-7. They got a touchdown late in the first half to take the lead. The Hoyas on the field now, warming up. The Red Storm just coming out now, as both coaches no doubt have made quite a few adjustments here at halftime. MAC football is brought to you in part by the people of First Fidelity Bank. In the communities where we work and live, we've learned that banking is all about one thing: commitment. First Fidelity is a proud sponsor of the MAC Football League. All right, here comes the St. John's team back on the field. Of course, that's one of the biggest flags in captivity. You got to be strong to hold that baby out. And also, this MAC game brought to you by Pepsi. For the people of the now generation, drink Pepsi. Georgetown will take the second half kickoff. The Hoyas have done a good job of moving the ball in this game. They had some trouble scoring in the first half. St. John's having problems on the ground, and that is something they have to correct if they're going to win this football game. They've got to find a way to shake Creighton loose in the first half. Creighton, who comes off a game against Marist where in the mud he did not do too much. The freshman running back for St. John's had 8 carries for 29 yards in the first half. Levine, the quarterback, scrambled 4 times for 23 yards, as he shows that he can be dangerous running the ball as well as throwing the ball. For Georgetown, much more effective on the ground, as their twin tailbacks picked up 100 yards between them on 20 carries in the first half. That was the big difference. Iorio, 13 carries for 54 yards and 1 touchdown. Tedesco, the backup tailback, 7 carries for 46. And certainly in that first half, Georgetown showed they could get around the ends on St. John's. And that's an area where St. John's is going to have to make an adjustment in the second half, trying to better defend the flanks when Georgetown does that pitch and sweep. What we have not seen from Georgetown, another bread and butter play that they like to run, is the counter trap on the inside where they pull their big tackle. Murray Happer, 6'4", 270-pound senior, the player that Bob Benson of Georgetown, the coach of Georgetown, calls the best player in the MAC. We have not seen that play where he has swung around and trapped, blocked. So the second half, where he tosses one and will receive St. John's. All right. Red Storm will take the second half kickoff. There, the Georgetown Hoyas out in the center of the field. Huddle, get ready. Hoyas have to be fired up coming off a victory last week. This young Georgetown team, after dropping their first 2 games. St. John's trying to bounce back after losing for the first time last week. The Red Storm, the only team in the MAC that has not won a league game to this point. St. John's looking for a good return here as they come back looking to run one back with Kevin Delaney, 6'0", 165 freshman from West Babylon, warming up. He'll be one of their deep men. Georgetown defensively must be aware of the fact that St. John's may go with intermediate passes here in the second half. That is what looks like a probability for St. John's to try to strike in the air on the short passes, as that's an area where Georgetown has been giving the Red Storm some room, but so far St. John's not able to really exploit that. So for St. John's, you've got the 2 deep backs. Number 10, the deep man for the Redmen, on the far sideline is Kevin Delaney. And here to the near sideline is Aaron Hardwood. And kicking off, Brendan Gone. As he comes forward, he hits a roller coaster. It bounces around, picked up by St. John's at the 35-yard line, across the 40, and getting good field position out to the 45-yard line is Steve D'Amicis, the defensive back, who made a nice catch and moved up beautifully to give the Red Storm good field position. First down and 10 at their own 46-yard line. So St. John's trailing 10-7 gets first crack here. Georgetown goes on defense. Out of huddle they come, and they go with 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. The sole running back is Jermaine Creighton. Again, that 5-man rush line for Georgetown. The pass bobbled away, still trying to catch his McPherson. Looked like he was trying to catch a greased pig on that one, as 3 times he had his hand on it, and McPherson is slow to get up. Right now he's bent over on the field. May have been hurt on that play. Trying to make a juggling catch of Levine's hard pass over the middle, but it goes incomplete. Now, if McPherson has to leave this game, that is a big loss for St. John's. Remember, he has 33 career touchdowns. He's caught passes totaling over 1,800 yards here for the Red Storm. So there's a timeout while the injured players attended to. John O'Leary would probably come in and replace McPherson if he has to go out. O'Leary is 6'1", 165 sophomore, who has been used primarily on kick returns. All right, getting up slowly as McPherson and walking off under his own power. Does not look like it'll be anything serious, as he is shaken up on the play, but walks off, and that certainly will make Bob Ricker feel a lot better than McPherson came off on his own power. So St. John's goes second down and 10 from their 46-yard line. Just underway here in the third quarter. Georgetown leading 10-7. Slot formation on the right side this time. This is Creighton finding running room on a slant down to the Georgetown 49-yard line, where Dan Cuniff, the left cornerback, came up to make the stop, as Creighton picks up 6 yards, and finally St. John's gets a little running room on this play. That was a quick hitter, a slant off the right side. Gets 6 yards and makes it a third down and long 4 situation for the Red Storm, as they're now in Georgetown territory. McPherson back in the ballgame after being shaken up. He comes as a wide receiver to the near sidelines here on the left. They'll go slot right on their third down play. Levine's pass is called out of bounds. McPherson trying to make the catch was out. And so fourth down is here for St. John's. They're unable to capitalize on good field position as Billy Taylor returns from a slight sabbatical, having a little lunch, a late lunch for Billy Taylor. I know you didn't eat much today, Billy, so I knew you'd be back. I knew you'd get here.
I'm a dessert person, so they had some cookies, and I wanted to make sure that everything was in order.
I think they had 3 desserts. That's the problem.
Well, I think St. John's really missed an opportunity because they had a chance at least to keep the momentum going before the half, but they're going to turn the ball over to Georgetown, which really is beginning to get the momentum and begin to make the right adjustments.
So Demekus with a rather short kick that hits a St. John's player inside the 30-yard line. So the Hoyles will go first down and 10 inside their 30 with 13:52 to go here in the third quarter on a 29-yard punt for Demekus. And let's see what the Hoyles do as they start the second half. What might we look for Georgetown to do here, Billy, offensively in the second half?
Well, they had great success getting outside, allowing Steve Iorino, excuse me, allowing
It's a tough one. It's Iori.
Iori.
Going, yeah.
Iori, my microphone went out.
Yeah, well, the head said yes. Iorio
allowed him to get outside and pick up a minimum of 4 yards.
So Georgetown will go first down and 10 from their 26-yard line. They got the slot on the right side, and Ring wants to throw as he rolls to the strong side and goes for the big aerial bomb deep. It's batted away, incomplete, as he tried to hit Jim Caesar, number 1, down around the St. John's 35-yard line, but it was knocked away by the Red Storm's Ken Forte, a very good defensive back for the Red Storm. He's played well. He's had 14 tackles going into this game and 3 interceptions, and he defends that one very well.
I like what Georgetown did. They faked the sweep trying to go outside with Iorio, and they came back through the bomb. Forte did an outstanding job of not looking back until the receiver did. I thought it was an outstanding job.
As again, we see Ring rolling out. He's a good rollout quarterback. This is a play they like, the quick pitch, but Iorio has to make it on his own because he is swarmed under by red shirts, as St. John's had good pursuit on that play, Billy.
Yes, they did, and I think that's one of the adjustments they made at halftime, is to be able to get somebody up in the gaps to not allow Iorio to pick and choose where he's going. As you look at the replay, the defense of St. John's was able to get up to the line of scrimmage, force Iorio to make a move before he even gets to the line of scrimmage, and he picked up 2 or 3 tough yards on his own.
Steve Dombrowski made the stop for St. John's, and now it's 3rd and 8 for Georgetown as they go with the slot on the left. Here comes the blitz. Levine fires too hard. He had a man running free, Rob Rosenthal, but he did not deliver the ball with enough touch in that one, Billy.
I thought Bill Ring got a little excited, and that was the first time, I think, this whole game that he showed he lost a little bit of composure. The blitz was on by St. John's, but they had a man open. He wasn't able to deliver it.
So O'Leary is the deep man for St. John's. He'll wait for the punt inside his 35-yard line as Joe Piscatella will punt it away off a good snap. The return is on. O'Leary will try to chase it down. Still chasing it. Gobbles it out of bounds at the 19-yard line, and a fine kick by Georgetown as he kicked it away from the return man. 52 yards. Big-time punt for Georgetown. Puts St. John's back on their heels as the Red Storm will go first down and 10 now from the 24-yard line. And let's go to Kevin Christopher, our sideline reporter. Kev?
Ed and Billy, in the second half, here's a little something to keep an eye on when Georgetown has the football. Bob Benson does not like the heat that Ray Lambright, the big defensive tackle, number 79 for St. John's, is putting on his quarterback. You saw it there on that third down play. What they're going to try to do is protect the backside and let Lambright get up a full head of steam and overplay the football.
All right, St. John's goes first and 10. Georgetown up 10-7 with 12:50 to go in the third quarter. As Levine wanted to throw the intermediate pass, now can't find anybody. He's going to have to try to run with it, but really found no room as that play didn't go anywhere. Chris Johnston, coming up from his free safety spot, the junior out of Nashville, Tennessee, makes the stop for Georgetown.
So the bad thing about that play, Ed, is that the receivers, and McPherson included, did not come back to the quarterback. When the quarterback is in a bound, he needs all the help he can get. The receivers got to find a slot for the quarterback to throw in. If you go deep, it's hard for him to throw going the opposite way. It wasn't a good job by St. John's on that one.
So no gain on the play makes it a second down and 10 situation for the Red Storm, just shy of their 20. There's a handoff with a flag thrown as Creighton gets a big pickup on the play. Goes for the first down. As we said, a flag was tossed. T.J. Fletcher made the stop for Georgetown. Let's see if that one's going to come back. Remember, in the first half, Georgetown got hurt by penalties that stalled their offense.
As you look at the replay, it was just a quick hitter going off the fullback. Offensive line did an outstanding job, allowed Creighton to really show what he can do, the speed, the quickness. It's a shame that it had to come back with a penalty.
Yeah, that erases a 19-yard gain, and it's a 5-yard penalty against St. John's. Puts it back to their 14-yard line, Bill. So St. John's in a bit of a hole now on a second down and 15 situation. St. John's slowed by a penalty here in the third quarter. What has been a close football game. Both teams would like to hit the big play, but neither team really has gotten too much out of the big play tonight. Georgetown had some opportunities in the first half on long passes, but could not connect. As Levine will now look to go upstairs. Nice pass to Creighton. Creighton trying to get the first down. He's got it out across the 35 up to the 40-yard line. And there, Jermaine Creighton shows what he can do if given some running room. He's a speedster. Sam Wales finally pulled him down.
Well, see, Georgetown had been faking the blitz all night. And when they do fake the blitz, they drop off so bad. They were allowed Creighton to come underneath the linebackers, and that's where he was able to pick up positive yards. You know they're going to come back with that one, and also the running play, they're going to come back with this. You look at the replay, he comes underneath the zone between the linebackers, gets the ball with nobody out there, picks up the first down. Outstanding call and play.
A 24-yard pickup. Handoff is to Creighton. Not this time. He can't turn the corner as the blue and white Georgetown Hoyers, led by Dan Cuniff, turn him inside and knock him down.
I think that it's hard to get outside against Georgetown, and all day long it's been hard because of their quickness of the pursuit of their defense. If they're going to make anything, they have to cut up and then get back outside to the sideline. But when you stretch the defense out like that, it makes it hard because you're running east and west.
So they send out Harwood, the speedster, on the left side, and they go slot right side on the second and long situation. Levine has a man free. It's Anitra, the fullback, as he tries to get close to the stakes for the first down, but comes up short, knocked out of bounds at the St. John's 46. It'll set up a 3rd and 2 as Tom Wanaka, the very fine linebacker for Georgetown, their leading tackler out of Staten Island, makes a stop.
That was the same play, but to the opposite side to Anitra. And as you look at the replay, he goes outside to his right, come back in front of the linebackers, and Mark Levine puts the ball exactly where he should. It's just Anikra is not really a good open field runner. Otherwise, he would have been able to pick up a little bit more yardage, but he picked up good yards.
3rd and 2 as Creighton tries for the first down, and it's very close. Boy, he gets that. Look at him go. He looked like he was stopped and made it on individual effort. Jermaine Creighton, who at 5'9", 175, ran a lot bigger on that play, Billy, to get the first down for St. John's.
Well, that's when Steve Campbell, John Irving, Brian Collins, the offensive line, that's when they get that surge. If you look at the replay, look at the offensive line pushing him, and that's what good offensive linemen do. He picked up the first down with the help of his team.
So now the ball is in Georgetown territory at the 49 with 10:20 to go in the third quarter. Georgetown leading St. John's 10-7. Red Storm trying to mount a drive here with a 1st and 10 situation. Bombs away. He's got McPherson deep, but he underthrew McPherson. Good coverage, though, by the defensive back down there. It was Reed Roberti who had a chance to intercept it, but settled for knocking it down. Roberti is a freshman out of Westminster, Massachusetts.
Roberti should have had that, Ed, and sometimes they say the reason that as you look at the replay, the ball was underthrown. He didn't get a little air into it, enough air into it, and Laverty was able to recover and knock it down. But the reasons defensive backs play defensive back is because they can't catch the ball, Ed.
That's the reason, absolutely. They're fast, but they got some of them iron hands. 2nd down and 10. Levine has all day. Comes back over the middle of a favorite pass pattern to Anitra. He's inside the 30. He's got the first down on a beautiful over-the-middle pass to Anitra. That's a play St. John's worked effectively against Marist last Saturday. Dan Cuniff finally made the stop, along with the defensive end, Jim Klessel, but not before St. John's moves the chains again down to the 28-yard line with a big pickup for the Red Storm.
As you look at the replay, it's the same play. The fullback just waits a little bit, delays, comes in front of the linebackers, is wide open, picks up valuable yardage and a first down. In football, you run those plays until they stop it, Ed.
22-yard pickup, Bill. 1st and 10 for St. John's. This is Creighton on a counter. Gets a little running room as St. John's now beginning to move the ball a little bit on the ground, Bill, something they didn't have too much success with the first half. Stop was made by Enrico Mariani, the 6'0", 255 junior linebacker from White Plains.
Ed, as you look at the replay, it's a counter tray. Creighton just runs inside the block, explodes through the hole, picks up a positive 7 yards, and the offensive line is beginning to take control.
Creighton now 12 carries for 49 yards in this game. It is 2nd down and 4 for the Red Storm as they're moving deep in Georgetown territory. Again, Creighton breaking tacklers. He's at the 10-yard line. They'll move the stakes again as now St. John's igniting the ground game. Creighton running with a lot of confidence and determination here in the second half.
That was Tom McPherson, Dan Ryan, Steve Campbell. You look at the replay. The offensive line is getting good blocking up front. allowing Creighton to pick and choose his holes. When a running back gets momentum, gets his shoulder squared to the line of scrimmage, he should always pick up positive yardage. First down inside the red area.
Impressive the way Creighton ran over Wanaka, the top linebacker for Georgetown in that play, too. So now it's 1st and 10 from the 11. Levine has a man open down the middle, but he's going to try to run and doesn't get anywhere as he's dragged out from behind. A good defensive play by Yanni Corey. The freshman from White Plains made the stop. Levine had a receiver open over the middle, Bill.
Well, sometimes a quarterback sees the end zone himself, and I think I think he saw right there it was wide open, but he knew that he could tuck and run the ball because there was nobody in his face after he stepped up. But sometimes a young quarterback, when he steps up, he takes his eyes from downfield, and that's exactly what happened.
And gets happy feet. That'll be credited as a sack for a 1-yard loss. Puts it back at the 12, 2nd and 11 for St. John's. Wide receiver right and left. Here's Creighton, a little delay. He's down to the 5. Creighton goes down to the goal line. He's stopped just shy of the goal line. A beautiful slant run by Creighton, who's now running with a lot of authority and power.
Well, I think the offensive line has to get a lot of credit for that because they're allowing him to get to the line of scrimmage without being hit. As you look at the replay, the fullback goes one way, halfback goes the other way. They call that a counter trade. Goes inside, is able to get his momentum going forward, and gets down inside the 2-yard line, which the St. John's offensive line is beginning to take control.
So now it's a 3rd down and 1 situation for St. John's at the 2-yard line. Handoff is to Creighton. Did not get in the end zone. Let's see if he got the first down. A little quick hitter on the inside as he ran behind the left guard, who's played well tonight, Steve Capellet.
As you look at the replay, they got good penetration by the defense. Now, you see when that happens, the running back has got to get hit before he gets to the line of scrimmage. It was an excellent job by Georgetown of getting penetration across the line against St. John's offense.
It was Bo LeBlanc, the backup nose guard, who made the stop then, Billy, that stopped St. John shy of the first down.
When you're down here, when everything is nose to nose, you have to be able to get penetration both on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball.
All right, timeout call by St. John's as they decide what to do on this key 4th down play. You're watching MAC football. They break the huddle in this 4th down and foot situation. They've got Anitra and Creighton in the backs. Hand off Anitra straight ahead. Did not find much running room. I'm not sure he made that as he tried to go off the right side, Bill.
Well, he had a chance to get the first down, didn't he, Ed?
Yeah, I don't know whether he got it, though. Georgetown's jumping up and down like they think they stopped the Red Storm, but let's wait and see. Anitra with a rare carry. He does not carry the ball that often, Bill, and he ran right into Enrico Mariani, the nose guard at 6'0", 255, who make the stop.
See, that is a momentum shifter because they could have either stopped and taken the field goal to tie the game up, but they were going for the lead. You can't fault them with that. But what this does, it gives the other team the momentum. Now it's their choice.
Well, that could be a key play in this game, but depends now what Georgetown's going to do. But let's wait till they get through with the measurement, because while the Georgetown offense has come on the field, they're going to measure this thing, so nothing is done until it's done yet, Bill, till the chain gang.
Oh, he's way off.
Yep. First down, Georgetown, as they stop the Red Storm inside the 2-yard line. So with 6:02 to go in the 3rd quarter, Georgetown hangs on to the lead, 10-7. Red Storm had a good drive, then started back at their 39-yard line, and they took it down inside the 2.
You're exactly right. And I think what's really going to say something about this is with 6:02 left in the 3rd quarter, this could be the situation that propels Georgetown to go further. Now it's up to them to get the ball out, get themselves some room to operate.
Well, that's where the pressure comes in. If the St. John's can bottle up Georgetown inside their 10-yard line, they really would get good field position with another opportunity to score. So now it's up to the Georgetown offense to try to move the ball and see if their speedy tailback maybe can break off a pretty good game.
At the same time, it's up to St. John's defense to keep them down there, Ed, so that these they can get field position like you stated, and their offense can come back and get another opportunity.
So here we go. With Iori in the tailback spot, out of the I formation for Georgetown. Oh, throwing for the end zone, and he's headed down. He goes, a safety. Boy, Ring never had a chance. He got nailed right away as bursting through there for St. John's and making the play defensively for St. John's. A very big play for the Red Storm. Walter DeForest came through and made the play as he sacked him. That was a surprise, Bill, when they went to throw on first down deep in their own territory.
Yes, it was, but they had to do something, but they had too much penetration. He had pressure on him, and I think that the thing he should have done was at least tried to throw the ball away, but he just kept it and took the 2 points. Now the momentum shifts because St. John's gets the ball back, Ed, in good field position after the punt.
Well, that's the thing about this. You know, in this kind of level, 1 AA ball, there's a lot of shifts of things, Bill. A lot of changes, mistakes, a lot of excitement. It can change very quickly, and there was a key situation where Bob Rickard did not get the people of fault maybe for trying to go for the touchdown rather than kick the field goal. But also in the back of his head, he said, if we don't make this thing, we got Georgetown pinned up. And again, the Red Storm coming out here very aggressively on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, playing good aggressive football. And now Georgetown's lead is trimmed to 10-9, and the Hoyas are going to have to kick the ball from their own 20-yard line, which may set up good field position for St. John's.
It really should, Ed. And the thing that really amazes me is Bob Ricker had confidence in his defense to know that they could come up with a big play or at least stop them to get the offense back. The worst thing that could happen to Georgetown is for them to get a safety, and that's exactly what happened.
So they'll kick it away with the Hoyas deep in their own territory from the 20-yard line. Cone kicks up to midfield, and St. John's in ideal position if they hang on to the football here as they take it down inside the 45 to the Georgetown 42-yard line. And boy, Red Storm right back in good field position again with 6:22 as T.J. Fletcher came up to make the stop.
Ed, I didn't understand that kick. It almost was like an onside kick. You're on the minus 20-yard line, deep in your own territory. You should try to kick the ball as deep as you can to allow St. John's to have to go far. Now they only have 42 yards to go before they can reach pay dirt.
Walt DeForest showing good hands on the return as he took it back about 9 yards, and St. John's with the 1st and 10 at the 42. Here's Creighton with that delay again, Bill, counter. That time didn't make much out of it. That's a play that St. John's has used successfully a couple of times here in the second half, but that time the Georgetown defense reacted well. I think they kind of saw that coming. At least Joe Yakabachi, the strong safety, made the stop.
Outstanding job by the strong safety coming up for the force. But the thing that I like is that Georgetown made an adjustment when the counter tray happens. The fullback goes one way and the halfback comes around. Bring the safety up to make him have to make the decision quicker. Outstanding job by Georgetown's defense.
So now it's 2nd down and 9 to go for the Red Storm with 5:46 to go here in the 3rd quarter with a 10-9 lead by Georgetown. Levine under pressure, gets it out to Anitra. He bobbles the ball, drops it, and they ruled it an incomplete pass. Covering the play was Jim Klessel, number 99 for Georgetown, along with Don Cuniff. So Georgetown that time had good reaction on the play.
Well, what St. John's tried to do, Ed, was try to do the counter tray play action where they fake the counter tray back to Creighton, which he tries to roll outside. I thought Levine did a good job under pressure of getting the ball off, and it should have been a reception.
Yeah, a lot of pressure that time on Levine as it goes to 3rd down and 8 now for the Red Storm. They got a slot on the right and a solo receiver on the left, McPherson. Levine wants to deliver it to McPherson, but it's underthrown as he came over the middle, but you're going to get a flag for pass interference. O'Leary was tackled that time before he made the catch by Joe Yakabachi. So pass interference against Georgetown.
Well, Yakabachi did a good job. He just got a little bit too anxious. He was there and was able to make the play, but he made it a little bit too soon. And I think St. John's is lucky because this is automatic first down for them. He didn't get the first down.
So St. John's now with a situation of pass interference called against Georgetown. Will move the ball down inside the 30-yard line of the Hoyas, and also will move the chains, giving St. John's a 1st and 10 situation at the 29. John Irving, St. John's center, injured an ankle on the last play.
Those kind of penalties really give coaches gray hair because the defense was doing a good job of stopping them. Then they came up and picked up that pass interference penalty.
Well, again, Georgetown very young. They only have one senior starter on their defense, and that's where it shows sometimes in penalties. Off the draw play, Creighton does not find much running room as the blue and white jerseys were there, along with the veteran Jim Klessel. He is the one senior on the defensive unit. The 6'4", 220-pound senior comes up and makes the initial stop.
And it was a good job at the point of attack because it looked like they had something going. It was a delayed draw as you look at the replay. Defensive line did a pretty good job. He got a little bit of speed coming up to the line of scrimmage and was able to get tackled, hit in the backfield first, and excellent job by the linebacker coming up and finishing it off.
This time McPherson, the St. John's gifted wide receiver, is at the top of the screen on a slot. He's out to the wide side right. And Levine would like to deliver the ball to McPherson, who comes back to the football, but he's out of bounds. He makes the catch. So to go as an incomplete pass. That time Sam Wells had good coverage on McPherson.
And you noticed, Ed, they had been rolling out to the left. That time they went to the strong point of Mark Levine, came back to the right, and I really felt, I don't know if you agreed, that he should have tucked it and run, because he had the corner made. He would have picked up a minimum of 6 to 8 yards.
Yeah, I think so, Bill. He had the wide open that time to go around because the defense was dragged deep by the pass receivers, and that whole side was open. But that time Levine decided to go up top, and now it did not work, and he's faced with a 3rd and 10 to the wide side. The top of your screen is a slot formation, one receiver to the left. Incomplete, underthrowing the pass, going over the middle, knocked down. Levine could not deliver that one on the money, but then, too, Georgetown had good coverage that time as both Cuniff and Lopez were back there to defend against the pass.
They're probably going to go for it here, Ed, but the thing about it, if he had to run the ball, his 3rd down situation would have been probably less than 5 yards and wouldn't have had to drop back so far for it. So it shows you how you can complement one play by keeping your 3rd down situations to a minimum.
Could have gone underneath, which is something that St. John's has found open tonight had they had a 3rd and 5, but now faced with a 4th and 10, and they have to go deeper than they want to. There's a little play action. Going for the 1st down, pass incomplete. Went to McPherson again, but the pass was off target, and Georgetown is held, and Georgetown will get good field position. Got to give Sam Wells, the 5'11 junior from Jackson, Mississippi, credit for doing a good defensive job in the last couple of plays covering McPherson.
Yes, he did, and also play action does not work on 3rd and long at all. They're not fooling anybody.
Good point. So now Georgetown with decent field position in the second half here with 4:35 to go and leading St. John's 10-9. Takes a 1st and 10 from their 29-yard line. They've been running from the I formation most of the night. They give it to Iorio, but that time he finds no running room. Again, St. John's doing a good job of shutting off the inside when they tried to run the speed. Iorio in. Walt DeForest made the initial stop for St. John's. And I guess Georgetown's going to have to go back to those sweeps, Bill, because they worked the first half.
I don't believe that Georgetown should run the ball up the middle on 1st down, because what it does, it makes their 2nd down situation such a long way to go. They've been having success with the sweep. Come back to it until St. John stops it.
Bill Ring is the tall, rangy quarterback with number 11 on his jersey on a 2nd and 9 situation. Here comes a blitz. Ring's pass is knocked down on a fine defensive play, tipped away by number 41, Chris Carew, the defensive end for St. John's, who has a habit of making big things happen for the Red Storm.
As you look at the replay, there was a blitz on. The defenders were able to get their hands up. I think any time that you're able to get near the quarterback, you get your hands in his face, it makes it harder for him to see his receiver. Excellent job by St. John's defense.
So now Georgetown in a tough situation. They've had a lot of long yardage situations tonight. They're faced with a 3rd and 9 here. They have a slot formation on the right. Down goes Ring. He's dumped back at the 23-yard line as now as we see the St. John's defense starting to take charge of this ball game. Ray Lambert came bolting through, the senior from Flushing, the first-team All-MAC last year, the 5th-year senior, very athletic. Big-time player, makes a stop. So 4th down is here now. And kicking it away will be Joe Piscatella for Georgetown. 3:22 to go in the 3rd quarter. Here comes the rush, but he gets it away. Beautiful kick. O'Leary has to go back and get it inside the 30. Good coverage down there for Georgetown, too, as O'Leary gets back to the 32, is knocked down. And with 3:09 here to go in the 3rd quarter, Georgetown is clinging to a 10-9 lead over St. John's after a beautiful 47-yard punt. You're watching MAC football. And he runs into a lot of traffic on that play, Bill. And the first man who hit him, good defensive play for the Hoyas, stopped by Tom Wanaka, the junior linebacker from Staten Island.
Ed, it seems like the only reason you give it to the fullback is to keep the defense honest, because there's really nothing there. Your main back is Creighton. You've done a good job on the counter trays and trying to get him going. I think you have to go back to that. The last time they had the ball, they passed all the time. They got to get back to what made them do best, was their running game.
And certainly the tailback is the primary runner for the St. John's team, and they're going to hand it off to Creighton on a quick hitter. He finds room. He gets first down as he takes it out close to the 45-yard line. And as you pointed out, Billy Taylor, in the third quarter, St. John's offensive line opening up big holes for the running back.
And that's as you look at their bread and butter, that is what they do best. They go straight at a defensive team, let Creighton pick and choose his holes, did a good job keeping his head up, his balance low, and picked up a really good first down, and that was the result of the offensive line.
Creighton now has rushed 18 times for 83 yards as he's bounced back from a subpar performance last Saturday in the mud against Marist to come up big tonight. St. John's in a first down situation. Nice fake by Levine, and he comes out there running, showing his athleticism inside the 35, knocked down. You know what, that looked almost like a busted play, and it went for a big gain before Dan Cuniff was able to bring down Levine, who can really scamper. He's another guy that can skate.
As you look at the replay, Ed, it was a fake counter tray again where he fakes outside to Creighton, comes around, does a good job of coming inside the defender, and the blocker, Tom McPherson right here, he should have, it wasn't McPherson, but he should have went ahead and got the block, go ahead of him, because the speed of Mark Levine is going to allow him to get forward and get positive yardage. Nice job by Levine.
So that takes it down to the Georgetown 39-yard line. And this is Creighton tearing up real estate as he gets a first down to the 24-yard line. St. John's getting those holes to open up now and pushing Georgetown off the line of scrimmage.
And Ed, as the game wears on, the St. John's offensive line, as you see them come off in cohesion, they're going to wear down Georgetown's defensive line to the point where they're going to be able to do what they want as the game progresses.
Big chunks of yardage there, Bill, too. Now this is an unusual formation being run by St. John's. They're trying to get Creighton to the outside, but he's not going to go anywhere at that time as he's spilled by the hard-rushing defender, Tom Wanaka, the first man in, and Jeff Hain comes in there also to make the stop. Good defensive pursuit then by Georgetown.
Yes, it was, but what they tried to do was to bring the counter tray back the other way. They've had success going to the right. Now they tried to bring it to the left. If a team has not stopped what you're doing, Ed, keep doing it. And that's why I thought they shouldn't have changed up on that one.
You know, used to do that, Billy. Vince Lombardi at Green Bay had that theory. You run the play until they stop you. So now it's a second down and 14 after a 4-yard loss. Levine forced to go to the air. Comes underneath to a play that works well. Anitra with the football, fighting his way down to the 16 or 17-yard line. That time, Anitra, after making the catch, made something happen. He dragged Cuniff and T.J. Fletcher with him before they took him down.
As you look at the replay, Anitra came out of the backfield, delayed. Levine waited for him to clear, threw a perfect pass right in his breadbasket, allowed him to get his shoulder square, do a nice little move, and as a running back is supposed to do, Ed, pick up extra yards after your first hit.
And he picked up 11 yards on the play to make it a third down and 3 as the man who, Jay Hain, missed a tackle on Anitra on that play. Hand off to Creighton. He's going to get the first down, Billy, as he takes it down to inside the 15 to the 11. That's a play that has been a bread and butter play for St. John's here in the second half. Cuniff and Yakabachi making the stop as the third quarter's history here at St. John's University Field. An entertaining game. This MAC game finds Georgetown in front of St. John's 10-9. And you're watching MAC football. The Red Storm. They're going to go with Creighton as he cracks down to the 5-yard line. And that's a play that, as we said, has worked well. Only this time, Bill, instead of running right tackle, they ran left tackle.
Well, that shows you the offensive line has definitely taken control of the St. John's, Georgetown's defensive line. Now, as you look at the replay, the offensive line is getting a good surge, allowing Creighton to get to the line of scrimmage with his shoulder square and picking up good yardage. That's the result of offensive line working in cohesion.
So it's down to the Georgetown 5. In the third quarter, St. John's rushed for 90 yards. Whistle on the play. Quick whistle, somebody jumped, Billy.
And what we're seeing also is that that Georgetown has begun to substitute on defense, because basically the entire third quarter, Georgetown's defense was on the field. If that continues to happen, these guys are going to be tired and worn out no matter what the weather is like, because you can't keep your defense on the field that long without your offense at least giving you some time to rest.
Now, in Georgetown going with so many young players, too, Billy, as we see on the replay here.
Exactly, because what is happening now, I don't know what the penalty was on that play, but it was against, it was illegal procedure.
Yeah, illegal procedure, 5 yards against the Red Storm, so it sets him back at the 10. Here's Anitra trying to get outside. This is not a play which he does very well, but he gets a few yards on it. He's more or less a power runner inside, runs it at T.J. Fletcher, the freshman out of Ridgewood, New Jersey, who makes the stop.
I thought Anitra's had a, as you look at the replay, when Anitra gets the ball, he should have cut behind the offensive lineman right there, cut behind him. He has yardage. He doesn't really have the speed to get outside, so that enabled him to really only cover a couple yards, but the offensive line allowed him to get a couple more.
So it's a 3rd and 5 situation for St. John's at the Georgetown 6, and as they like to say, this is a pretty big play coming up here. With St. John's down by a point, Levine wanting to throw. He's not going to get it away because he's sacked. As that time, Georgetown sent Yanni Corey, number 96, the 6'3", 230-pound freshman out of White Plains, bolting through, and he dropped Levine. So St. John's turned away in an attempt to get a touchdown, though they can still grab the lead here if they get the field goal to go between the uprights as they bring on their erstwhile kicker, John Ledwith, who missed earlier in the game with an attempt from about 35 to 40 yards. He's going to have an opportunity for a 27-yarder here, and he nails that one. So John Ledwith, with his 2nd field goal of the year, gives St. John's a lead now over Georgetown 12-10 with 12:52 to go here in the 4th quarter.
And Ed, that safety looms real big now because it's allowing them to get the lead.
All right, you're watching MAC football.
Here comes
but plenty of time left here for Georgetown with 12:52 to go.
Yes, if they can make the adjustments offensively and not try to test the middle of the St. John's defense and try to get it outside and use the talents of their fine quarterback, Bill Ring, I think they've got an opportunity. It's only down by 2 points. Plenty of time to go, Ed.
So Ledwith will kick it away. Caesar, one of the 2 backs deep. Caesar waits for it inside the 5, and a nice kick by Ledwith. Caesar has room. Here comes that reverse. They give it off to Iorio. He's trying to come around the right side. He's got running room as the reverse works as he comes across the 30. That time they made it work, Bill. Earlier when they ran the reverse, it did not work, but Georgetown gets good field position, but certainly St. John's is looking for that reverse play.
Well, what has to happen, the receiver, whoever gets the ball first, has got to make an attempt to go forward to either one side or the other to get the defense to flow with them. Then you come back with the reverse. That time it worked a little bit, but Iorio showed you his quick feet by doing some good open field moves.
St. John's building a lead on a touchdown, a safety, and a field goal. That about covers it, doesn't it, Bill?
Yes, it is. It's been quite a ball game, though.
But now Georgetown has an opportunity as they come with a slot formation on the left. Let's see what Ring does. Hands it off to Tedesco, and the ball goes flying out. There's a mad pileup. Let's see who recovers as the ball got stripped and went flying around. Now they're unpiling. St. John says they've got the football. They're jumping up and down. We await the official word, though, as they're still unpiling. Tedesco, the backup tailback, really didn't have a good handle on it.
So the bad thing,
St. John's gets the ball, Billy.
The bad thing, Ed, is that Georgetown's defense has been on the field all day. The first play they come out, they fumble, the defense is back on the field. Those guys are tired.
And we said that Chris Carew was around the football, has a habit of doing that. Well, he made the big play there as he pounced on that fumble. St. John's has excellent field position with 12:32 to go. They've got it at the Georgetown 34-yard line.
They score. They can make this one history, Ed.
Red Storm running with a wide out to the right and to the left. Here comes the pressure up the middle. A little screen pass does not work as they had Anitra out there, but Levine really could not see over the arm, charging Enrico Mariani, who got up on Levine's face, and Levine misfired.
That wasn't executed very well, Ed. What the offensive line is supposed to do is to block count 1,002, 1,003, then leave. I did not see them wait till 3. They let the penetration come too soon on Levine. He got creamed.
I thought they caught the express train instead of taking the local than the offensive lineman. But we're going to come back even further as a penalty is called against St. John's. I would suspect it's a holding penalty that will set them back out near midfield. So St. John's now with a long situation, a 1st down and 25 situation.
They have to get it back in a few chances, not try to get it back in one opportunity.
They run the slot here on the right and a wide receiver to the top of the screen to the left. This is Creighton. But he gets something back before he falls down at the 40. He picks up about 10 yards on the play.
Nice run by Creighton, but the thing about it, he's been slipping all day. He doesn't. As you look at the replay, the offensive line does not allow penetration. He's able to go off the block of the fullback, get to the outside, make his turn up. But watch him slip here. And on AstroTurf, you should not slip if you have the proper shoes on. And I don't think he does, because that's the 2nd or 3rd time today that we watched him slip in a situation where it wasn't warranted.
Creighton had good blocking then from Anitra the fullback and O'Leary the wideout, as Creighton now has 111 yards rushing in this game, and Levine with a deep drop, which usually means a screen. And that time they make it work on the right side. Anitra barreling down close to the 30-yard line, but there's still about 10 yards to go for the 1st down, Bill.
I thought that was a good call because they tried to screen the other way. It didn't work. The offensive line at least delayed a little bit, allowed Anitra to at least get positive yardage. But getting back to Creighton, I think what the reason, that as you look at the replay on this one, the screen was set up. The offensive line blocked a little bit longer. You allowed Anitra to come underneath, pick up the ball, and even though he took a little while to get going, he picked up good yardage.
And it was Eric Barons, the junior from McLean, Virginia, who made the stop. Now St. John's faced with a 3rd and 9 situation. Levine wants to go deep. Got McPherson back there, and he tips it but can't hang on to it. McPherson went up with one hand, tipped it, and tried to turn around and catch it with both hands, but a little tough to come down with. Good coverage then by Reed Roberti, the freshman out of Westminster, Massachusetts for Georgetown.
That was good coverage on the play. And as you look at the replay, he had plenty of time to throw. It was a straight 7-drop step back where he just put the ball up. And anytime you're in man coverage, you want to get the ball to your wide receiver, and the ball was just hanging a little bit. Good job. Nice effort by Tom McPherson, but came up for Neal.
Let's find out, Billy, how strong a leg that John Ledwith has, as he's going to try one from 48 yards away. He's made a 42-yarder. Bad snap. That'll doom that one as it'll bounce out of the end zone. So Georgetown will go 1st and 10 from the 20 as they dodge a bullet. Georgetown fumbling the ball away, but the Hoyas will not pay a big price for that, Bill.
No, they're not. And I thought that it was an excellent stand by Georgetown because they had been getting beat all day long. They took a good stand, gave the offense good field position with the ball. Now it's Georgetown's opportunity to try to get back in the game. They're only down by 2, plenty of time to go.
And that time the Red Storm was hurt by a penalty. Penalties that hurt the Georgetown offense in the 1st half. That time St. John's offense bitten by a 15-yard penalty. So the Hoyas go 1st and 10 with 10:53 to go. And this is the little halfback to tailback, Iorio, trying to get some yardage. Again, Billy, they can't get off tackle with that play. They're better when they go wide. And that's said that all night long, haven't we?
Exactly right. When they keep it between the tackles, they're not having any success at all. As a matter of fact, at this point in the game, with 10:32 left, they should throw that one out of the playbook for right now and try to keep it outside or play action or fake that and come back around and let Bill Ring roll out.
Chris Carew and Randolph Howard made the stop for St. John's. It's 2nd and 8. They're going to try up the middle, but that's not going to go anywhere. A good defensive play that time by Randolph Howard. He sniffed that one out and stopped the ball, carry right the line of scrimmage. Maybe Ioria got a yard, but again, they go up the middle, Bill.
They're not listening to us, Ed. If they were listening to us call the plays, they would have had more yardage. And as you look at the play, between the tackles, they're not getting any type of situation for the running back to get a hole through. And I think what they have to do is change up a little bit, make an adjustment now because there's still plenty of time, Ed.
Now it's a 3rd and long situation, about 6 yards. St. John's will rush 3 down linemen as they go into a prevent defense, but they come with a blitz. Picked up nicely, though, by Georgetown. The completion to Caesar. Caesar's got the 1st down out across the 45. Very well executed play. First they picked up the blitz, then Billy Ring made a fine throw to Caesar, Ken Forte and Randolph Howard brought him down.
And as you look at the replay, the key element in this pitcher is picking up the blitz. When you pick up the blitz, it leaves you in single coverage. The receiver gets the ball with plenty of room to run. Caesar picks up the first down and continues the drive, allows the defense for Georgetown to get off the field and get some more rest.
15-yard pickup there, Bill, as the Hoyas move the chains for 1st and 10 at the 45. St. John's up 12-10. Georgetown trying to move with 9:20 to go in the game. Right back up the middle, they go with the tailback. There's that play up the middle again, Bill. Gets about 4 yards that time. A little more successful this time running up the gut than they had been.
As you look at the replay, the offensive line was able to at least not allow penetration. They pushed Randolph Howard out of the picture. He's been in there all day, was able to pick up a positive 4 yards, which keeps their second down situations very low and gives them a chance to do something different offensively.
Good block then by Jeff Blumberg, the right guard, 6'3", 235 freshman from Drescher, Pennsylvania, opening up the hole for Iorio. So it's 2nd down and 6 now. Big pressure on Ring, has to throw it away, makes a tremendous throw considering the pressure he was under to deliver that ball that far, but he got tremendous pressure from Ray Lambert, 79, and 47, Walter DeForest. They were in all over Bill Ring.
Before the game, Bob Benson, the coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, was telling me about Bill Ring and his ability to make good decisions. That was a decision that really could have cost them, but he was able to throw the ball out of bounds, throw up in section 335, let one of the fans catch it.
I'll tell you what, that was not an easy one for a fan to catch either. He had some mustard on that baby with a 3rd and 6 situation now. Big play here for Georgetown. In trouble, and down goes Ring. Is getting off the turf and dumping him. Number 50, Steve Dombrowski, was on the ground but reached up and grabbed the ankle of Bill Ring and tossed him down. Also, Chris Carew, who's coming up big here in the 4th quarter, had good pressure on the quarterback.
And the defensive line of St. John's got outstanding penetration and stopped a key 3rd down situation.
So the sack leaves it 4th and 15, Billy, and they're going to have to kick it away, Georgetown. Here's O'Leary waiting for the punt. Gets out to the 33-yard line as Joe Piscatello with a punt on that one. Let's go down to Kevin Christopher on the sidelines. Kev?
Guys, we know it's a game of emotion, and it's really running wild on the Georgetown side of the football field. Joe Tedisco's so upset over that last Georgetown turnover. That's why you didn't see him on this series. Murray Happer lifted him right out of his cleats and banged him to the turf. They can't put the kid back in the ball game because they can't get him calmed down. Back to you guys.
Well, Happer will do that to you. We mentioned earlier that 6 pro scouts have been to Georgetown to look over Murray Happer, the 6'4", 270-pound senior tackle for Georgetown. But it's St. John's football in a 1st and 10 situation. Here's Levine. Gets the first down, and out to the midfield stripe goes Levine. The ball comes loose, though. It looks like Georgetown has recovered. Levine got spun around and looked like he was just standing there, and the ball popped out. Georgetown player is injured back down the field toward the line of scrimmage, but it's a nice turnover as far as Georgetown is concerned after Levine made a fine run. It was Scott Obashan who made the recovery, the freshman out of Westminster, Massachusetts.
At the end of the fumble, you see the quarterback really doesn't have the ball put away as well as he should. The guy takes a hit right on the ball. He was close to the sideline. He could have easily run out of the ball. Big play by Georgetown, and late in the game, that could be the difference in the game if Georgetown could put some plays together and get back in. All they need is a field goal to take the lead.
That's right. So Georgetown had a player shaken up, number 57, Tom Wanaka, their very fine linebacker, but he goes off under his own power, trots off. So apparently he's all right. So now Georgetown gets another opportunity with 7:53 to go. Good field position at their 43-yard line, but Georgetown has to prove here, Billy, that they can mount a sustained drive or hit the big play against St. John's, because they have not been able to do that in the second half. That's a nice pitch. There's the play that went the first half so well. Tiptoeing down the sidelines, Iorio makes the big play for Georgetown. They go back to a play that had worked very well the first half, takes it down to the St. John's 35-yard line, and you want to pick up on that one up 22 yards for Georgetown.
Well, they tried to split everybody to the left, then they pitched it out to Steve Orion to the right, and that's the bread and butter play that they've had success. As you look at the replay, they had everybody split to the left. and they pitch back to the right, and that's the bread and butter play. It allows Steve Iorio to be able to get outside, get his shoulder square to the line of scrimmage, and pick up big yardage.
Let's see if they throw on first down. Now they send Iorio back up the middle, only gets a couple of yards in a straight dive series. They look like they set things up here to put the ball upstairs now, Bill.
Well, I don't understand that because up the middle is difficult. Their offensive line is not matching up very well with St. John's. The thing I think they have to do, they had the wide side of the field coming toward us. Why not pitch it out to Steve Iorio on this side of the field? Because then he's the kind of running back who can cut up and create something if it's nothing there.
So Walter DeForest, the very fine middle linebacker for St. John's, makes a stop after a 1-yard pickup. 2nd and 9, split left. Here comes Iorio to the right, and he runs into a host of red shirts as St. John's pursuing very well here in the second half defensively.
This is going to be a key third down situation, but I think they're in the situation where they have to use 2 downs to pick it up. As you look at the penetration by the defensive line, there was nothing there. The fullback kind of half-heartedly blocked his man. Craig Raczynski didn't do a good job and pushed his man back into the eyes of Steve Iorio.
As Ray Lambert, the big defensive tackle, came on to finish off the play for St. John's, and now the Hoyas faced with a 3rd and 10 situation at the St. John's 35, and time becomes a factor with 6:38. Short drop, pass, complete. No first down, though, as they come up short. Nice catch, though, by Rosenthal, as he had to pick that one off the shoe tops. Brings up a 4th down situation. Ken Forte, the sophomore from Rochester, made the stop. And now, if you're Georgetown, what's the call here on 4th down with about 3?
Well, as you look at the replay, it was a 3-step drop. He tried to get it to the receiver very quick. Receiver had to go down to get the ball. He lost his momentum, still picked up 6-7 yards, and I told you that they would take 2 plays to do it, Ed. This is a key 4th down play. They take time out.
Well, that's a smart idea. There's a freshman-oriented Georgetown team wants to talk it over with the coach, and especially the sophomore quarterback. Bill Ring comes to the sidelines.
Rosenthal for Georgetown has 6 receptions for 74 yards. Doing a good job of just running down, turning around, and allowing Bill Ring to get him the ball as quickly as possible.
Number 24, Rob Rosenthal, their best receiver for Georgetown. Back Football is brought to you in part by the people of First Fidelity Bank. In the communities where we work and live, we've learned that banking is all about one thing: commitment. First Fidelity is a proud sponsor of the MAC Football League. You're watching MAC Football. Tight football game with 6:05 to go here in the game. Georgetown now with a big situation here. They have a 4th down and 3 at the Red Storm's 33-yard line. All right, Billy, any thoughts what they might run here?
I would try to get Iorio outside or throw a quick out to the receiver. It looks like they're going to run the ball, though.
Yeah, a little different formation, Bill. Strong side is right. Levine wants to throw. He's got a man open. He's got the first down on a nice catch, and a breakaway as Chris Coleman gets the first down. Inside the 20. That time they ran a strong side pass, Bill. It worked. Good call because it's a formation I don't think we'd seen tonight.
What they did, they tried to, as you look at the replay, they tried to bring everybody in tight. They brought the receiver out to the right, made him run a quick out pattern. Bill Ring put the ball on the money. Nice call, nice execution by the Georgetown Hoyas.
So they've got the ball now at the 17-yard line of St. John's, a 1st and 10 situation with 5:47 left in the game. Iorio is the tailback. They're going to go to slot formation on the left. So they put Coleman and Rosenthal out here on the left. They'll run Iorio off the right guard. Doesn't find much running room there as they go back to the inside running game, which we've mentioned several times did not work very well tonight. Let's go to Kevin Christopher.
Yeah, Ed, you're absolutely right. I was talking to Walt DeForest before this St. John's defensive series, and he said if they're going to get one, they're going to have to get it through the air because they are not going to get us in between the tackles. Back to you guys.
All right. They certainly have not been able to move the ball there. They might get it by going wide, though they've gone away from that here in the second half. A pickup of only 1 yard on the play makes it 2nd down and 9 for Georgetown at the St. John's 16.
Well, the middle is not there. We've been telling them that all day, Ed.
They'll go from the I formation, which is what they've run out of most of the day. Ring wants to lob it in the end zone. He's got a receiver. There's a flag thrown. They're going to signal touchdown, Georgetown. A looping pass caught in the end zone. A beautiful catch and a nice throw from the quarterback, Billy Ring, to Rob Rosenthal, his primary receiver. Now let's see. I believe the pass interference will be called against St. John's, but let's wait and see.
That is a tough play to defend because the quarterback underthrows the ball where the receiver has to come back to it. I thought it was offensive interference, but it was defensive interference. There's nothing the defender can do. He had the man blanketed, but he had to touch him in order to prevent him from catching the ball. Nice job by Bill Ring and a good job of concentration.
Boy, a real good throw because he put it up high in the air, Billy, right over the defensive back. That's of all the throws Bill Ring has made tonight, I think that's probably the best one he has thrown tonight.
Yes, it is, and you have to give him a lot of credit because he could easily be discouraged because we had him like 9 for 30, and he did a good job of standing there, keeping his poise, and he's given Georgetown the lead again. This game is not over, Ed.
No, it's been a seesaw battle. It's been wavering back and forth, but now Georgetown in front 16-12, and they're going to go for the 2-point play here, Bill. They try to get a 6-point lead with the quarterback. Here goes the same kind of pattern almost, but that time it's thrown too far as he tried to get Iorio in that corner, but the throw was incomplete, so the 2-point conversion fails. But Georgetown takes a 16-12 lead over St. John's with 4:50 left to go here in this football game.
As you look at the replay, it was a simple out pattern by the receiver. Bill Ring tries to make him run underneath it. A little bit too much touch on the ball, was not able to get there. Nice. Oh, this is the touchdown. Okay, as the receiver was able to come back and get the ball. Outstanding job by Bill Ring, and I thought, Georgetown really has to be given a lot of credit, Ed, because they have been stymied basically the whole second half and haven't been able to do anything consistently. To come back and get a score after St. John's has shut them down is a tribute to the offense and Bill Ring.
So the 16-yard touchdown pass play puts Georgetown in front, and you have to, it's really, I think it's what Coach Bob Benson was talking about Georgetown. He said, we have to learn how to win. We have to learn how to overcome adversity. I think that was a prime example because St. John's had dominated play here in the second half, moving the ball on the ground very successfully, stalling the Georgetown offense. Yet Georgetown came through with a nice long drive, made the big plays, and now they've got the lead.
Exactly, and I think that they've shown the poise. They've always had the ability to do so because anytime they made the right calls of getting Iorio outside, they've been able to be productive. When they come back to run in the middle, that's when they've been shut down. The play action is there. Bill Ring is doing a good job of keeping his poise, and Georgetown is having the lead.
So here's a kick by going, comes up short by going at the 35-yard line. St. John's will get excellent field position on a tough run back up the middle as the Redmen get real excellent field position. Number 17 carrying the football back, one of the up men for the St. John's Red Storm. A nice return by Steve D'Amicis, the defensive back, who gives St. John's excellent field position at the Georgetown 47-yard line. And if they were trying to kick a ground ball because they didn't want Harwood to run it back, that backfired because it certainly gave St. John's excellent field position. So the Red Storm goes 1st and 10 with 4:37 left in this game. This is Levine. Not that time. He goes nowhere. Fine defensive play by Scott Obashan. The 6'3", 200-pound freshman comes up and makes the hit on Levine.
As you look at the replay, Levine rolls out, doesn't do a play action, rolls to his right. It looks like he's a little indecisive what he's going to do. The running back, Anitro, did not get a good block, and it made Levine have to cut inside before he wanted to.
So now St. John's faced with a 2nd and 11. That counts as a sack. Here comes the pressure again. This time it's complete to Creighton, trying to fight for the first down. He'll come up just shy of the first down as the clock dips under 4 minutes to play. As now there's a sense of urgency for the Red Storm as they move it down to the 37-yard line. Eric Barons, the junior, out of McLean, Virginia, made the stop. So it'll come up 3rd down and about a foot to go for the first down. Clock is still running with 3:40 to go. Georgetown up by 4, 16-12. Here's Creighton. He's got the first down. He gets a block, picks his blocks nicely as he goes inside or just around the 30-yard line of Georgetown. Nice 7-yard pickup. First down for the Red Storm.
I thought it was a good call because the offensive line has not allowed any penetration, allows Creighton to pick and choose where his holes are, picked up the first down, keeps the drive going.
Nice block then by the wide receiver, Tom McPherson. 1st and 10 for St. John's, 3:20. Hand off to Creighton as he tries a quick hitter. Doesn't get much on that left side. They put him down around the 29-yard line. Nice tackle then by Tom Wanamaker, the linebacker, the junior from Staten Island.
Yeah, Wanakee met him in the hole, which is an outstanding job because he had his momentum going forward. Looked like he was going for more yardage, but Wanakee did an excellent job of stopping his penetration.
2nd down and 10 for the Red Storm. Here's Levine with the happy feet. And he gets down to the 25-yard line. He can break along with it. If he gets some running room in that secondary, he can skate and he can very elusive, very smooth runner. Doesn't waste a lot of motion. Notice that Bill Levine now has rushed 10 times for 66 yards. Yanni Corey made the stop.
Well, he did a good job on that one because he was not indecisive. Once you make your move, tuck the ball and go. As you look at it, he didn't even hesitate at all. He turned up, picked up positive yardage. And at this time of the game, you've got to make good decisions and make up your mind one way or the other whether you're right or wrong.
3rd down and 5 for the Red Storm, deep in Georgetown territory. Levine getting sacked. That's a big defensive play for Georgetown. Coming through, Tom Wanaka, the linebacker, their top defensive player, helped out by the other linebacker, Eric Barons. Both make the stop, and St. John's is in trouble.
That was a big play by Georgetown. As you see on the replay, they did blitz. Wanakee, who's been all over the field, was able to get through untouched and put his hat on Levine and brought him down for minus big yards.
So Levine gets sacked for a 6th time in this game. He's been to Sack City a lot of times this year. He's been sacked 18 times now in fewer than 4 games. So St. John's taking a timeout to talk about this crucial situation. A 4th and 13 situation with 2:04 to go in the game. Georgetown leading 16-12. And this has been a game of a lot of shifts and turns with one team looking good and then the other team coming back. It's been very entertaining from that standpoint because it's hard to say in this kind of football game who's got the better team as we're going along. Nobody really asserted themselves for any longer for a short period of time.
Well, I think what's important here, too, is that Georgetown has faked the blitz numerous times, so St. John's doesn't know what to do sometimes when they bring everybody to the line of scrimmage. But that time they were able to blitz Tom Wanakee. He was able to get through, and that was probably one of the biggest sacks of the game.
So it's 4th and 13 for St. John's. Remember, the defensive weakness of Georgetown is the intermediate range passes, the underneath passes of the defense. Let's see if St. John's can exploit that and keep this drive going. Here comes the bomb. He's got McPherson open. Touchdown, St. John's. A pattern that has worked so well for the Red Storm. McPherson taking a beautiful delivered pass from Mark Levine. And now McPherson has 34 career TDs, Billy Taylor. He's special.
Yes, he is. And I think Mark Levine and him have some kind of workable thing together because he put that ball on the money in a crucial situation. They had a long way to go. And as you look at the replay, it was a straight drop back. Tom McPherson just beat his man on the deep post. Levine made sure that the ball was not underthrown. McPherson made a great adjustment for the ball. Touchdown. St. John's is back in the lead.
And a 34-yard aerial strike as McPherson shows the smooth strides, the awareness of where the defense is. He's a whole package, and he was 5 foot 7.5 inches, just got a little taller. There's the extra point. Ledwith is good. St. John's now leads by 3 points, 19-16 over Georgetown. But you know what? It's not over yet. You know, McPherson came to St. John's, 5'7.5" and 145 pounds, turned down a golf scholarship to New York Tech. Certainly didn't look very big when he came on campus here, but he has a big package for a small man.
As you look at the replay, Levine dropped back, hadn't been getting much zip on the ball, put the ball the only place he could, touchdown McPherson. And Coach Bob Ricka talked about before the game, Tom McPherson is his big play receiver, and tonight he showed you why.
Now, Bob Ricka wanted to go up top. He wanted to hit some long passes on this team, and he certainly has done that as McPherson celebrates in the end zone. So St. John's up now 19-16 in a game of lead changes. Georgetown, though, gets the football back with 1:58 to go. And remember, they've got the ability with a quarterback who can deliver the long pass himself in Bill Ring.
Yep, this one's not over because Bill Ring has shown a lot of stuff. Now it's up to St. John's defense to get penetration, to be able to put pressure on Bill Ring. And he's a freshman, or he's a younger player. He can at least get rattled if they can at least put pressure on him.
Because what Ring lacks, Billy, is really the deep threat that's an explosive receiver. His best deep man is Rob Rosenthal, but he's not in the class in terms of speed of the St. John's wideouts. So it's a little tougher for Georgetown to hit the 50 or 60-yard touchdown play, unless Iorio their running back, maybe the guy. Give him the ball off a swing or a screen pass. Try to get him outside because he can explode and go the distance. Let's see what happens as Ledworth will kick off.
Well, Ed, there's less than 2 minutes left, which means there's plenty of time for them to take their time and get up the field and call some proper plays.
A short kick is fielded at the 15-yard line. Getting some running room out across the 25. Knocked down. So Georgetown will have only decent field position on the return by their fine running back, Steve Iorio, who does a lot of things for this Georgetown team offensive. So now with the ball, 1st and 10 for Georgetown at the 29-yard line. With 1:50 to go. Let's see what the Hoyas can do. They'll go slot on the right side. Caesar's the wide out on the right. Rosenthal's the wide out on the left. St. John's will rush 4 men. They drop the linebackers deep. Ring completes it and then drop. Let's see if they rule it a fumble. If they rule it a fumble, St. John's seems to be there first. Caesar had the ball, turned, the ball spun out of his hands. Let's see how they rule it.
I think St. John's has it.
I think so too, Bill, because they didn't blow a whistle on that one. If that ball had been down first or incomplete pass, they would have blown a whistle. Well, 1st down and 10 for St. John's in an ideal situation where they might be able to run out the clock here if it's their ball. They're still impounding over there. St. John's certainly is their football. But let's see. Let the officials call it, as they often do. Look to anybody, Georgetown. You can see the frustration by the St. John's player. I saw a St. John's player jump up and down and slam his helmet down. I knew it was Georgetown's football. So Georgetown gets a life out of that one, Bill. 2nd down and 10 from the 27-yard line. They have a slot on the right side. Ring wants to come left out here. Completes the pass out across the 35, and Wisey, the receiver, Rosenthal, gets out of bounds close to the 1st down with 1:22 to go in this game.
But he's got to get out of bounds. He was close enough to the sidelines where he could have stopped the clock by getting out of bounds. But was it a 1st down? Yes, it was, so the clock stops.
Now, Billy came up short. He did get out. 3rd and 1. 3rd down and 1.
Well, they've got 2 plays to get the 1st down.
Yep.
And I think he's got to do a quick out to either side.
He puts Caesar at the top of the screen. He puts Rosenthal as the wide receiver down low. Bob Bricker, the St. John's coach, very upset. I think Bob Bricker wanted that to be called inbounds, keep the clock going.
See, right now, when you have a young team like Georgetown has, this is the kind of experience that will propel them maybe next year, Ed. They've done some good things tonight, made some good decisions, and really Bill Ring is going to do nothing but go forward and go up.
I like this Georgetown team. It's very young, has a lot of talent, and I think if they keep these players here and they got a chance to do something in the next couple of years in this MAC title race.
I totally agree, and I'm really impressed with the poise they displayed all game. I mean, they've made some crazy calls by trying to run the ball between the tackles when the outside has been there, but they've got to get Steve Iorio out into the game. They've got to get the ball quickly to the receivers to allow them to have room to run.
They're measuring the football. Looks like they come up a few inches short. Be 3rd down in inches.
Well, as I said before, Ed, this is 2 plays to get a 1st down. So with a minute 22, they got to take their time and pick up the 1st down, which is the most important thing.
They might want to do a little play action here, Billy. Fake that up the middle and try to get the pass because they could always go for it on 4th down. Let's see. St. John's looking for a run up the middle, and here comes Iorio up the middle, and he gets the 1st down. Just about gets it. Not by much, though. And, of course, the clock is running, continues to... Ken Ditzler came up from his free safety spot, smelled that play out, and made the stop.
I still hate running the ball up the middle because they barely got it. I mean, it looked like it was going to be tough. They got to do something else a little bit more creative.
So with 1:09 and the clock running, 1st and 10 for Georgetown. They've got Iorio open. They're going to go deep. Intercepted by St. John's, and that may kill off this football game for Georgetown. A leaping interception by the Red Storm. A beautiful interception across the field. I think it was Steve Damascus.
As you look at the replay, Damascus has the out territory, and Bill Ring tried to throw it through him. You cannot do that because the receiver was not open at all. It was a poor choice by Bill Ring. But my hat's off to him for playing a good game, giving good effort, and really showing that he's a quarterback of the future.
Steve Damascus with a fine interception. I mean, he climbed the step ladder to pick that one off, and that is his 1st interception this year. He is 1st team All-MAC from last year. Georgetown still has 2 timeouts left. Bill, I'm going to ask you in a moment who you think is the offensive player of this game, and I'll give some thought to the defensive player of this game.
Okay.
St. John's just trying to run out the clock here as they give it to Creighton, and he goes inside the 45-yard line. We'll see if Georgetown will take a timeout. Stop is made by Scott Obashon, the 6'3" freshman out of Westminster, Massachusetts. And timeout is called as Georgetown uses one of its 2 timeouts.
Ed, I'm probably going to go with Jermaine Creighton, and I could easily go with Mark Levine, but Creighton had 124 yards unofficially right now, and I like what he's done all day. I think he's been able to pick and choose his yards, making good decisions. If you agree with that, I'd like to go with Jermaine Creighton on that.
Yeah, I think so, because I think he set the tone. His running enabled St. John's to get their passing game going. It was the key for St. John's. They had to get the running game going tonight to loosen things up, control the ball a little bit, and really put some pressure on the Georgetown defense, and I would agree with that. I think also you could make a case for McPherson, who's caught 2 touchdown passes, and you can make a case, for else the St. John's offensive line.
Absolutely. I would go with the offensive line, but since we go with one person, I'll go with Creighton, because he allowed them to set up the pass by running the ball effectively.
Trying to run out the clock as Creighton carries again. Georgetown will still have another timeout, and they will use it. I think defensively a little tougher to pick out the defensive player of the night, but I think probably if I'm looking for one St. John's player who maybe was a little better, shined a little lighter than the other ones, Walter DeForest, the middle linebacker, number 47, the 6'1", 207 senior, did a real good job of taking away some of that inside stuff tonight. Didn't allow Georgetown, when they wanted to go inside, to make any gains.
I thought DeForest and Randolph Howard, number 46, both performed very well, but I'll agree with you on DeForest because he shut down the middle and made Georgetown have to go outside to be effective.
So now St. John's with 49 seconds left in the football game with possession on 3rd and 2, and Georgetown having used their final timeout. All St. John's has to do is sit on the football, and you know what? They have their first MAC win of the year, and then everybody in the MAC conference this early in the season has a win inside the league, which shows how balanced it is. Excuse me, Billy.
Yes, it is, and I think we're seeing some good football, and teams are getting better from week to week.
This is Creighton getting the first down and maybe more, and they're still trying to get him down as he goes down the 15-yard line as he pads his statistics for tonight. Sam Wells makes the stop. Creighton really piling up the yardage. Jim Demetrius over there, our fine stat man, going very quickly to give me the big numbers on Creighton. 28 carries. What a workhorse. 148 yards carrying.
But you know what, Ed? I think that Creighton probably was listening to us decide who was going to be the offensive player, and he wanted to make sure that he knew that if he added a couple more yards, like he's added 20 more yards since we last talked about it, and I think now we have to solidify it, Ed.
What was that? That pie you had at halftime? What was in that? More than apples. All right, there's the kneel, and that will wrap this one up for the St. John's Red Storm as they win their first league game after losing last week to Marist. They go to 1-1 inside the conference. Georgetown falls to 1-3. As the Red Storm, with a come from behind 19-16 victory, they get it late in the game. They get the touchdown with just under 2 minutes to go. They got the game-winning touchdown. And the good feeling about this football game, Bill, is we thought coming in here it would be close, would be exciting, and we got both those things.
Well, looking at both sides, Georgetown has got to feel a little discouraged because they didn't play as well as they're capable of. They had a lot of penalties that hurt them in the first half. They came back in the second half, made adjustments, got the lead, and then made St. John's have to come back to beat them at their home place, and they did it.
And it was important for St. John's to rebound after being flattened by Marist last Saturday, to come back tonight and be able to do some of the things they wanted to do, especially able to use their quickness. They finally faced a team that was not bigger than they were. They matched their quickness against Georgetown, and it worked their way as St. John's also got their running game going, made their big play work too as Levine hooked up with McPherson twice for touchdown passes. And their defense, when it had to be tough in the second half, they started to make some big plays. As far as Georgetown is concerned, I thought the first half they did a real good job at the line of scrimmage, dominating on the offensive side.
Absolutely. Georgetown Hoyas' offensive line was the difference in the second half. They allowed Creighton to get 148 yards. I think the defense came up big when they had to shut off the middle, forced Georgetown to have to go outside and do what they had to do. I thought it was a well-played game by both teams, and a lot of fun with you, Ed Ingles.
Oh, Bill, it's always fun to work with you, BT. You know that. I mean, you put a lot of shed light with his darkness in this game. I mean it. 14 of 32 for Levine for 188 yards passing. As St. John's rolled up 366 yards total offense. And for Georgetown, They put together a 274-yard night. But the day belongs and the evening belongs to St. John's. For Billy Taylor and Kevin Christopher, thank you for joining us. I'm Ed Ingles. Join us next Saturday when we go up to New Rochelle for Iona and St. Peter's. There's your final score again. St. John's beats Georgetown by 3. Have a nice day and evening.
MAC football is brought to you in part by Nobody Beats